6 o'clock, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Big Tennessee Vols football news yesterday is 5-star plus running back out of Baylor School in Chattanooga, David Gabriel Georges, officially announced his commitment to the University of Tennessee. The 5'11", 220-pound running back is the number 9 overall player in the 2027 recruiting class and the number 2 running back. It's a huge get for head coach Josh Heupel and the Vols for the 2027 class. SEC Media Days wraps up today in Tampa Bay with day 4 concluding. LSU, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Texas all are scheduled to speak for today. Last night, Nashville SC won again after beating CF Montreal 1-0 at Geodis Park. Here in Nashville, Sam Surratt scored his team-leading 10th goal of the season in the 68th minute off a penalty. Nashville gets their 5th straight win, and on Saturday they'll come back and play in Orlando against Orlando City FC. Today, football is back in Tennessee as the Titans rookies report to Vanderbilt Health Football Center for today for training camp. The veterans will report next week to camp on Tuesday, the 28th. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. On a beautiful Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee, Ramon Will is on your radios, your smart devices, your 104.5 The Zone app for the next 4 hours. 615-737-1045 is our number. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where you can stream us with a whole crew present and accounted for on this Friday, Junior. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, our producer, myself, Will Bowling. At long last, David Gabriel George is a Tennessee Volunteer. And at long last, we're going to start pronouncing his name correctly. David Gabriel George. Ramon Foster commits to the Vols yesterday. A very big day in the dead of summer for Tennessee football. How are we doing?
Man, is that why I got on this Vols shirt right here by Volunteer Traditions? Is that why I have that on today? I was just wondering.
Do you tell me?
That was good news. It happened
sounds like
yesterday.
it.
Yes, absolutely it is the reason I have it. And I got the football helmet on too, man. Shout out to our guy Mason, man, at Volunteer Traditions. Awesome shirt, man. Super cool on your skin in the summertime while it's all humid outside. But most importantly, man, the Vols got their guy, Will. We got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Tennessee got him, being the we. Huge deal yesterday. 5-star plus running back, according to On3, whatever that means. 5'11", 220. This guy is legit, Ramon Foster, in every possible way. If you have been living under a rock and don't know who this is, well, we'll be happy to tell you because it is a very big addition to the Tennessee 2027 recruiting class. The number 9 player in the country, the number 2 running back, giving Tennessee a dude at running back to the level that they have not had in terms of this profile of player in a really long time.
No doubt, man. And that's the thing about it, this profile at a skill position. Like TK Keys most definitely is one of those types of guys you wanted last year. I think he needs just a little bit of development in him. And the other side of it for me, though, too, Will, is the plus side of it when it comes down to, hey, he is good enough to probably start in fall of 2026. When you look at his body type, when you look at his tape, when you look at what he's capable of, man, behind the offensive line that he plays with at the Baylor School, legitimately one of the best prospects to come out in a while, man. And there's a lot that kind of goes into his success. One, health is always going to play a part in it, but the idea that he can go flourish at the University of Tennessee is high. It's very high. Coach Heupel, I think every coach on the staff tweeted out something yesterday about him. I had some of my friends, man, that were excited about him and just said, man, I'm expecting him to be Jamal Henry or Adrian Kamara.
Oh, wow. Okay. No pressure.
Jamal Henry or Arian Kamara. And I was just like, that is one heck of a mashup right there when it comes down to those expectations. But that's the other part of it, too. Getting him into the fold is meeting those expectations personally for himself, which he's very driven. He didn't have much to do after his commitment. Had to go eat dinner and go to bed. This is what he said he was going to go do.
Love it.
So all Vol, And fascinating, too, that his school now, I think, has a partnership with Adidas.
That's right.
That happens, man. Congratulations to him. His appreciation post was posted yesterday, too, and also came with a little bit of a dose of reality for the naysayers, as the players from Alabama like to say from time to time. Super unique way to say thank you, guys, but at the same point in time, shame on you adults who are criticizing me and creating false narratives. I hate that even had to be a part of this storyline, but again, the young man is evolved now. UT fans, let's get to it.
Yeah, he in his statement said, I feel it is important to address something. What should have been one of the most meaningful and joyful moments of my life has at times been overshadowed by negative media coverage, false narratives, and unfair assumptions about both my character and my family. I understand the passion, excitement, and pride that college football inspires, and I have great respect for every fan base and every program involved in this process. However, any form of harassment and the spread of misinformation is simply unnecessary and uncalled for. It is kind of crazy that even has to be said by a kid on his big day of announcing his commitment.
It is. It's just the nature of the more and more I log on to it for multiple reasons, the more I want to kind of get rid of Twitter, but it's necessary for our job.
Yes. I think if we didn't do what we did, I don't know if I would get on it very much at all.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't know why I'm continually on. Oh my gosh,
why are you shooting paper in the middle of a segment?
Because it's always messy over here on this side of it, and Dawn ain't even here today for me to blame her. There's always something over here on this side of the workspace.
I'll get the rebound in a second.
That's all. I appreciate it with a putback. But yeah, it is, man. It's interesting to see how recruits who we usually don't care about have to deal with the cesspool of Twitter narratives and just attacks. Ohio State fans were crashing out for a high class, and I'm really saying this in a very facetious way, for a high class university
on the field
that Ohio State is. Boy, y'all got some low pit people, man. It is fascinating. Like,
everybody has their worst fans who are loud and misrepresent the rest of the fan base on social media. Theirs are just very loud. There are many of them.
Is it because they don't lose like this?
Well,
like recruiting
they're a blue
battles?
blood program. Any blue blood program has plenty of these types of fans.
My logic would be, well, we'll just go get another one next year. You know, as far as like a prospect, a 5-star guy and stuff like that.
And they have plenty.
They didn't, but they've taken from the state of Tennessee before, of won recruiting battles with the Vols previously as well. So I know it's a give and take. I know the Legend Bay
it's
recruitment.
Twitter. We don't have to
no doubt.
rationalize it. Like, it's just
you're
it's
right.
a cesspool.
It's a cesspool. I don't know if I want to say I'll be glad when they end it, but it is the worst part of society that operates on Twitter, man.
It can be, for sure.
It most definitely can be. But shout out to him. Another thing, though, I put out there in our YouTube chat, you guys can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Twitch, please. Adidas is doing his job. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, reportedly, this is a 3-year deal, around $2 million per year, with family travel benefits to attend games as well for DGG and his family.
You got to just kind of this partnership of being the flagship for the Vols. There was a lot of pushback last year. I'm going to use the term that our good friend Brent Hubbs used. Nike was everybody's golden goose, right? Like the brand, the clothing, the check, everything about it is cool. Booby Miles, if I'm going to knock them fools out, I'm going to have black Nikes on my feet. Like, it's a culture. But you got to kind of give it up to what Adidas has presented to the Vols, the University of Tennessee, all sports, and what they've somewhat assisted with branding, with the recognition of the partnership globally, because it was on the Adidas website during the World Cup that, hey, the University of Tennessee was on the main page. And it seems to me that the athletes that they've brought in have somewhat even had partnerships, which are allowed with these athletes, to kind of sweeten the pot. Like, that goes a long way when Nike was pretty much had you in the second tier potentially of like their brands. I mean, they have Ohio State, Penn State. If I'm not mistaken, the Penn State may have left too.
They just left also. Yeah.
I mean, Oregon, you have Alabama, Texas.
It wasn't the same level of investment.
It wasn't the same level. And if you were anti-Adidas, you need to go check yourself and look in the mirror on this one.
This is Tennessee's 8th 5-star commitment of the Josh Heupel era, following 8th five-star commitment of the Josh Heupel era. Following Faison Brandon at quarterback, wide receiver Tristan Keys, left tackle David Sanders, D lineman Isaiah Campbell, edge rusher Jordan Ross, wide receiver Mike Matthews, and quarterback Nico Imaliava. But we don't talk about him. Jokingly. You could find other services that have 5-star ratings on guys like Gabe Osenda, and heck, George McIntyre was a 5-star recruit at one point. So that's a little bit of a gray area in terms of 5-star prospect. But the fact of the matter is, Ramon, the stars could align with 5-star talent in Josh Heupel's offense in 2027 at positions of importance. Yeah. Left tackle with David Sanders as a junior in 2027. Faison Brandon as a sophomore at quarterback. Tristan Keys as a sophomore at wide receiver. And then an immediate impact running back in David Gabriel George, who is expected to come in and contribute right away. And you said it well earlier. If he was there right now, I think he is running back 2 on this team, and probably really more like 1B for Tennessee along with Deshaun Bishop. It is a massive, massive get, especially for an offense that typically does more with less. Mm-hmm. It is able to turn 3 stars and 4 stars into 5-star talents based off of the system and the quarterback whisper nature that Josh Heupel operates with on offense. It's a really, really big deal, and it puts Tennessee into a really good conversation about ceilings in 2027 when David Gabriel George gets to campus. I'm not trying to skip over this year. I know there are obviously still playmakers and good football players on this team as well, but if you are able to retain those 5 stars, half of Josh Heupel's 5 stars that he's ever had commit to Tennessee and sign with Tennessee will be on the same side of the football at the same time in 2027 for the Vols.
For sure. And not only, you mentioned that too, of the hot spots that the Vols have hit. They hit quarterback, they've hit left tackle, they've got the wide receiver, they hit running back. And then the other side as well, when you mentioned trying to find those other guys to fill this team, this past class, the 2026 class, was very defensive heavy. Not only they're just that, Will, but like there weren't 5 stars per se that you say, hey, man, they got 3 5s, but there are a lot of high-rated defensive players in this last class. I'm looking at it right now. Like you can look at the stars. A 4-star can go from like an 89 rating all the way up to like a 95. The Vols have, just looking at this group of defensive players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 92 and higher, 6, 92 and higher rated 4-star players. Like that accounts for something. When they do
so keep them.
An accumulation, yes, that's the other side. When they do when they do the average of what the rated star is for your team, the Vols are rating higher than they have been in years past. Like we've had good stars and a lot of players that come into a class, but the number system on how they were rated pretty much on a grading scale might have been the low end of 4 stars. Now you get into the higher end of 4-star players, and that actually contributes to a lot too, because it just lets you know that like there's only so many 5 stars you can get per year that they give out ratings to, and you're still in the high class of guys. A guy in particular like Carter Gooden. He's an edge player with a 94.6 rating.
He's going to play this year too.
You know what I'm saying? So like they've raised the floor is the way I'm at on this one.
I think they've raised the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They've raised everything.
They have.
It is an exciting get and a very, very fun player to watch play football. Mm-hmm. Very fun player to watch play football. So we have covered this recruitment from the beginning. Austin Price and Brent Hubbs have been totally plugged into this from the beginning, and kudos to them, because they've been consistent. The Tennessee was always a good place here, and now Tennessee is in the best place, as in the hat that was picked up yesterday by his sister that he put on his head to commit to Tennessee.
No doubt, man.
Let's go to Matt in Baxter, wanting to talk about DGG this morning. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Hope well this morning. Beautiful orange sunrise coming up in the east. It's a little hint in that. Hey, I just wanted to give you guys just a little bit of backstory on this David Gabriel George. S is silent. Thank you guys for clarifying that this morning. So my daughter and 2 of her friends went up on June the 19th to paint the rock for him. And the other 2 girls, lifelong Vol fans as well. These girls are in high school. They get up there and they're starting to paint the rock. Well, the band comes by and says, hey, we're going to paint over this. And my daughter says, "You're not going to paint over it till the guy I'm painting it for sees it."
Wow.
And she stood there. It was awesome, guys,
Wow.
to know that she sat there and goes, and they're like, "Well, we're painting over it at 4:00." She said, "If he's not here by 4, you won't be painting it at 4." And it was awesome. And Austin Price, a great friend, they did an article on them this morning on VolQuest about them painting it. And my daughter wants to go to UT to be in the recruiting office, and she told me last night, she said, "Dad, I got my first official recruit yesterday."
Let's go.
And I said, "If you keep getting those 5 stars, baby, you're not going to have to worry about a lot of things."
That's awesome.
To tell you one thing, and I'll go. So David was up there, and he speaks broken English. You know, he's a French Canadian and a great young man. And we share. My daughter was kind of like, "Hey, how do I break the ice to talk to him or whatever?" So we share a friend. His name is Briggs Cherry. He was his quarterback at Baylor, and now he's at Louisville. So David, he gets out of the golf cart. He looks at the rock. He's smiling. He's crying. His mama's crying. His dad's crying, and they got "Welcome Home" in French on there. And David turns around and walks off, and she says, she looks at or talks to David and says, "David," and he stops, and she says, "Briggs Cherry." And he just stopped, and he went up and hugged her. He said, "Your friend is my friend."
Oh, that's awesome.
He said, "He's my quarterback." But it's a lot of small things that go into getting these kids. And Ramon, you know, it's not just always the money, and it's not just always this, that. They got to feel welcome. They got to feel welcome at home. And, hey, I think we've got a great thing going. Guys, I hope y'all have a great day. Hope it's a great day on Rocky Top as each day, and God bless each and every one of you. Have a good day,
Hey,
guys.
Matt, your daughter, I'm on the front page of VolQuest. Matt just went off.
That's okay. He said he had to go.
He did say you have to go. This is
I was
awesome.
literally just reading that article. So that's actually really funny that he called
crazy.
in. Well done, Matt, to you and your daughter. And I think she might need some Adidas NIL money as well, maybe.
She does.
She needs some commission on that thing. That's awesome. Really
That's
cool.
crazy right there, man.
Really cool.
Good, man. That's good stuff, man. Appreciate that call and insight as well.
615-737-1045, our number. We've stretched the calls all the way to Baxter, Tennessee this morning.
Baxter, Tennessee. Have you real
not
quick
bad.
ever painted the rock?
I have. I've painted the rock when I was in first grade for the first time.
No doubt.
When my brother lived in Gibbs Hall, literally down the hallway from you.
Yeah.
Before, obviously, we knew each other. And he was living there, and I stayed at my brother's dorm a couple times, which I thought was just the coolest thing ever growing up. So, yes, that is how early I knew I was going to Tennessee.
I painted it. We painted it like 3 o'clock in the morning for my fraternity. It was for
Nice.
our probate.
Nice.
About 3 in the morning. Got up at 6 because I had to go work out and stuff. It wasn't even on their rock anymore.
I'm sure it wasn't.
How quick they moved to paint the rock. though.
Yep. 615-737-1045 is our number. 4 more teams making the rounds at SEC Media Days today. How many championship or bust teams are in the SEC in 2026? Because one, maybe 2 of them are going to talk today. We'll talk about that coming up next. Live from the 104.5 The Zone Circa Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs. Hour number 1 on Friday, Junior. Trey Wallace joins us talking college football at 8:20. Nate Washington, former Titans wide receiver, in hour 4 at 9:20 this morning. And your phone calls, as always, at 615-737-1045. LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas are the 4 teams that round out SEC Media Days today in Tampa. Ramon, did they save the best for last with Lane Kiffin? Speaking at 8:05 this morning in Tampa Bay.
They did, but apparently he's not doing any radio role whatsoever. He's getting in and getting out. I heard that on 3HL yesterday. Who's the former fullback from LSU that has a show?
Jacob Hester.
Jacob Hester. I heard him a little bit yesterday as I was in the car.
You could have stopped at former fullback.
Does a good job, though, man. I got to give it to him down in Baton Rouge, man. But he said Lane's not doing any of the car wash on the media floor whatsoever. He's getting in and getting out. Lane,
he said yes to Vanity Fair months ago, but he's saying no to SEC media.
Duck and smoke, man.
Got it.
Duck and smoke. All it is to me, he don't want to speak about how much money he's spending on their budget right now, probably, or just the many other things that Lane Kiffin says and does as a head coach.
Well, when you tweet all of your thoughts, maybe you have less of a need to give those thoughts into microphones.
True. This is very true. 100%. But I'm shocked, as you said, for a guy that likes to talk, likes to sell his brand, the schools that he's much better than. He, to me, can't go back into the shell that he had previously gone into. I feel like Lane was very boisterous out front when he came back into the SEC, and then he tried to do this whole little makeup and, rebranding of himself to where he's the nice guy.
Right.
We love
the guy who does
Lane.
Yoga. Right.
But he was going there for hot chicks and not necessarily sandwiches or spicy chicken. This is what we found out.
Sandwiches at yoga?
That's what they say. Yeah, hot yoga is what he was going for. But after he left Oxford, apparently a lot of the patrons that were going to his classes had different conversations. But either way, allegedly. Him not talking is weird. And I don't know if it's pressure of what his team is expected to do or his first year on job.
Sure.
Or the fact that the LSU boosters are really looking for big production this year.
That's always the case.
Him shutting up is not normal, is my thing.
No, it's not. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't be that guy. Be you all the time. I just go on before I go into the mustard bottle conversation.
2 linebackers at a tight end, TJ Daugherty Whitweeks, and the very talented tight end Trades Green, the other LSU Tigers who will be there. Arkansas goes second with Ryan Silverfield at his first SEC Media Days. Mississippi State with Jeff Levy, their young quarterback Kamario Taylor, a part of their trio of players. And Texas with Arch Manning, the last team to speak at SEC Media Days. So maybe that's really where they've actually saved the best for last. When we look at this LSU team, Ramon, what is a successful first season for Lane Kiffin at LSU this year?
The way he pillaged everybody, championship. It has to be. Those are the expectations. You don't go the scenario of Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss. Who was the Pete Summerall, the head coach at
Florida? John
Summerall, who left Tulane to go to Florida, pretty much summarized he and Lane's conversation as best as anybody could about what he said to Lane, how Lane Kiffin tried to box him into the same category as he was. And John Summerall pretty much told Lane Kiffin, I'm not sure if I see your research. Do you have the quote up?
I'll find it.
I'll
find the exact words.
But Lane left a championship-built program in Oxford with Ole Miss to chase a bigger program with more money, more resources, more athletes at LSU. They were already in the playoffs. You got to give Lane a lot of credit for what he did at Ole Miss, considering they have, I feel like, hard roadblocks they have to get over in Oxford. And
it's not a blue blood program.
It's not a blue blood. No. They support like crazy.
He was building them into one. And then left on the doorstep of them competing for a national championship. But yes, there were limitations to what you could do at Ole Miss before he got there.
And think about like the fact that he got them or helped get them to the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. And you leave that organization high and dry to go to LSU. You don't just leave LSU to reset and rebuild. No, you leave in that scenario to go win a championship at LSU, and I mean immediately. So there's a lot of pressure in that. Lane knew the pressure that was involved in this job. I feel like if we say anything other than a national championship for the LSU Tigers, it's selling him short. You don't leave Ole Miss to go do this. Like, this isn't Lane Kiffin at Tennessee to go to USC. USC was hot as heck at the time. He wanted a better city and everything.
Yeah.
Oxford to Baton Rouge, to me, are similar in a lot of different ways. The hate that they have for one another is because of the proximity that they have to each other as well. Between Ole Miss,
the ceiling is higher at LSU, though.
It is. But he left a high ceiling
right
at Oxford to go to Baton Rouge.
He left a team that could have met that ceiling that year immediately in order to hit it more consistently and where he feels like is a place that gives him a better chance to consistently build championship-level teams.
We're selling him short by not saying championship this year.
So I don't know if I'm going to go that far, though, because I'll ask you this question first. How quickly can you put together a championship team now in college football?
Excluding Kurt Signetti?
I mean, Kurt Signetti took 2 years. So, I mean, maybe that's the answer. If that's the fastest you can do it.
Under 2, yeah. 2 years and under.
So even Kurt Signetti couldn't do it in 1 year.
No, couldn't.
Win a championship in 1 year. I think at the very least, they've got to be in the last 8 teams remaining this upcoming season. They've got to be in the college football playoff quarterfinal. I think anything else is a failure of a first season. I'm not going to expect them to be championship or bust in year 1. I think the only team, I'll take that back. I think there are 2 teams in college football in the SEC this year who would consider themselves championship or bust, and I think that's Texas and Georgia. I think LSU is probably next up, but not quite, hey, it's championship or we're upset this upcoming season. That being said, on paper, they look like a championship or bust roster.
Yes, that's what's going to get it.
The question becomes, how quickly can you get those guys to buy in to your way of practice, to your way of studying film, to your way of relating to their teammates, to buying in to all the things you're telling them when you are new to the vast majority of your roster. Your way of doing things and your way of running a football program remains to be seen. If there's any team that could win in a new era and a new coaching staff, win a national title in year 1, this is the team.
Yeah, it is. And I found the John Summerall conversation too.
John Summerall said about Lane Kiffin, Lane said, we're going through the same thing. I said, no, we're not. You're leaving an SEC school. I'm leaving Tulane. If any university said I couldn't coach in the playoff, I don't think I would have taken the job. Very easy to say that in hindsight. I don't totally believe him, to be quite honest with you.
You got to.
That's an easy win for John Summerall to say that because there's no way we can check him on that.
No, absolutely.
Very easy win for him in the court of public opinion.
I guess when you look at his situation at Tulane versus Lane's at Ole Miss, it's easy for him to say, man, you had a good thing at Ole Miss because, again, to your point, John Summerall probably wanted what a coach like Lane Kiffin had at Ole Miss, or the reason why he also left and went to Florida is because he wanted the big thing.
Like Ole Miss and Tulane aren't the same.
No, they're not the same.
So him trying to make them the same thing to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
He just, I guess, personality-wise, he's saying to himself, like, you had a good thing. And I think that's Lane's.
And there is truth in that,
vice.
for sure.
Yeah, that is his one thing that he has a hard thing is settling down. He's almost like people we know that can't tie down a chick. You know, I mean, not a chick, a woman, and be in a really good relationship. We know people like that. But also this too, when you look at LSU, they have a potential first round left tackle. They got a potential first round quarterback. They went and got other 5-star. Prince Amumiela is a part of this as well.
Edge rusher, another potential 5-star talent and first-round pick.
No doubt about it. They end up getting T.J. Jotter, a linebacker as well, that's got good numbers with him. Like, you look up and down that roster, they've got hot spots at every position.
They signed 10 receivers in the transfer portal.
And he's got an offense that's very much line them up wide, go deep as well.
We were talking about Vandy yesterday. They had a good transfer portal class. They signed 20 total players in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
LSU had 10 receivers. They also had 10 leave in the transfer portal.
Yeah. But I'm harsh on Lane because I'm not a Lane fan.
You are, and that's okay.
With that being said, I do feel like I would be selling them short and by saying, like, they shouldn't be serious contenders. What serious contenders mean? Definitely playoffs. First, second round of it is where he should be at.
I think they have to win a playoff game.
The question we have to get answered from Lane Kiffin is only through his coaching that we get this. Can he go win a national championship? I know he's been a part of it. And I feel like we make it seem easier than it actually is.
Because the resources that LSU has and the money they're spending, other teams are spending that. We're about to talk about Texas in a minute. They've got the same money. They've got really good facilities and a lot of tradition. I mean, just because you signed a coach that you feel like can win a national championship doesn't automatically mean that all the other teams also didn't sign a coach that they felt like could win a national championship who also has a war chest of NIL dollars.
You know who else they did this? They did it with BK, Brian Kelly. They gave Brian Kelly everything that he needed. Absolutely everything that he needed. He changed his doggone way, his voice box and how he talk and everything. They checked every box. The unlikeliest candidate that won a national championship at LSU was Ed Orgeron. And I know he had a super team and he had Joe Burrow, okay, right? Jamar Chase. He had
Ed Orgeron, who's back on staff at LSU now.
Exactly.
Which is very weird.
That's
very weird.
To be fair to Lane Kiffin, that is the one thing that we don't know, and that's the only thing he has to show us. Can he go win a championship? Because when it boils down to him versus Ryan Day, who are you trusting in those moments, right?
Right now, Ryan Day.
Exactly.
And for a long time, we didn't trust Ryan Day.
We did. That's very true.
Until he went and proved us wrong. The thing on LSU that I would be worried about if I am a LSU fan is just the letdown game that comes with Lane Kiffin, where they just don't look ready to play 1 or 2 weeks out of the regular season. Mm-hmm. Now, last year's team at Ole Miss found a way to win a lot of those games, but you're talking about a 41-35 win over Arkansas at home. Kentucky pushes them to the brink on the road last year. They beat them by a touchdown, 30-23. They had to sweat out a win over a bad Washington State team on homecoming, which, again, we think back to the conversation around that stadium being half empty. Remember, that's part of why Lane is the LSU coach now and not the Ole Miss coach, is part of his frustration. And why aren't we filling the seats for Washington State at home for these bad teams that are coming in? That's not going to happen in Baton Rouge. And there are so many of those games in Lane Kiffin's history at Ole Miss where you're just scratching your head what happened? And I get that it's college football and these things happen, but the loss at home to Kentucky in 2014, 20-17, had no business losing to that Kentucky team in 2014 and 2024, 20-17. The way they lose that game, that's to me been the problem, is Lane's immaturity rearing its ugly head on a Saturday in the middle of October against a middle to bottom SEC team. And again, the bottom of the SEC is closer now to the middle and upper class of the SEC. Georgia trailed in 7 of their 8 SEC games last year. This is also just partly the new normal in that you got to sweat it out and find a way to win against pretty much everybody, I think, not named Arkansas right now. And even Arkansas. Arkansas beat Tennessee a couple years ago, and that was a playoff team for Tennessee.
It's true. It's true. That's the hurdle that Lane's I'm just backing up your point. That's the hurdle that he's getting over as a coach. And that's why I asked that question. Can he sustain long enough with all that all the resources that LSU is currently giving him to get over those hurdles, those coaching mistakes, those emotional moments, I feel like, on the sideline?
Emotional is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Emotional is good.
Yeah.
Using emotion as a motivator for your team, the way Kirby Smart does, is a positive. But Lane's emotions seem to once again now be a topic of discussion, considering the way that he left Ole Miss. It felt like he had grown out of a lot of the problems that reared their ugly head during the LSU courtship.
Yes, man.
That's kind of where we're at. We're kind of back to square one on Lane Kiffin and his just overall personal maturity.
Can I be real? I feel like the
I would
best.
love for you to be real.
I know, right? We're doing a show, Mo. You got to sound real about it. I feel like the best attribute of a national championship coach in Georgia, Kirby Smart, is his emotions. I'm not sure what his X's and O's are because I feel like he's got real good people around him. I feel like his best attribute is his emotions.
Well, and he is the right amount of emotional because his team just doesn't beat itself.
Oh, man. No, and I think he seeks out attitude guys that can handle that style.
Yes.
Because you hear him yelling more.
He talks about it.
Yeah.
Like, this is not an NIL first program.
Yeah.
You're not coming here to get a paycheck. You're not coming here to get a handout.
Because I don't want to make it seem like Lane's emotions is bad. It just seems like Lane's emotions is cancerous almost with how he reacts to it. Like it's the ick with how he goes about his emotions, man.
Steve Sarkisian, the final coach who will speak today. Yes or no, Texas is championship or bust in 2026?
Yeah, for sure on that. And in a serious, yes.
I think championship or bust can be a bit overplayed and a bit over discussed because there are plenty of teams that, let's be honest, if they make the national title game and they lose, that fan base is still going to feel happy at the end of the day with that season. This is one program where I would say that does not apply. Right. If Texas fans watch that team go to the national title game and lose, you're not coming back afterwards saying, oh, well, we got close. Good season, guys. Nah, number 3 portal class of the country. They have 10 Power 4 starters that were added to their program this offseason. 10 Power 4 starters from around the country. Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, for me, the best 1-2 punch at running back in the country. And Arch Manning, who finished the season really, really strongly. If their secondary could take a step forward, and Will Muschamp was brought in to help do that, help them take a step forward. Secondary is the only question mark I have about that Texas team. Secondary and maybe a little bit offensive line, but they've reloaded an offensive line as well. They are going to be absolutely loaded.
Their best defense might
absolutely
be
loaded.
What they have on offense.
Colin Simmons, too, at edge rusher, is the premier edge rusher prospect of the NFL draft for this upcoming season.
We were having a conversation with a friend yesterday, which is like, you hate for the Titans to be bad again, but you take what's his name, Simmons, man.
You'd take a number of Texas players.
You take Colin
You'd
Simmons.
take Cam Coleman. You'd take Colin Simmons.
Ryan Wingo. Cam Coleman. Arch. Well, no, you can't take Arch.
Trevor Gooseby, the left tackle. Because that's the next big left tackle to he may be the first left tackle off the board. They may have the first quarterback, left tackle, probably not wide receiver, but I could make a case for wide receiver for Cam Coleman over Jeremiah Smith, although Jeremiah Smith is one of one. And then at edge as well.
And then I forgot about Hollywood Smothers.
We saw him at NC State a couple years ago.
I know,
in Charlotte, but for NC State.
And then here's the other two other names I've looked up. Brandon Baker, also former 5-star, expected to anchor them this year as well. I mean, they're checking the box more than anybody this year. Another thing we hadn't spoken about, I guess, is Notre Dame, but we don't really do that as much. I saw.
No, they're not at SEC Media Days. We'll get there.
SEC Media Days, but yeah,
maybe they could have an independent media day.
Vols fans, get ready to grit your teeth. That's what I would
Hell
say.
so.
Texas is just good.
Yeah,
man.
it's a tough way to open SEC play. It is.
Get ready, yes, sir. Buy a mouthpiece.
615-737-1045 is our number. Nashville SC made a little bit of history last night. We'll tell you how, coming up next.
Have you heard that a lot of corporate-owned chain jewelry stores are shutting their doors? So many smart shoppers have figured out that cookie-cutter jewelry is boring and mediocre service is unacceptable. That's why Genesis Diamonds is having record success. Genesis is locally owned, staffed by real experts with warranties and guarantees that are unheard of. With personal attention, with case after case of unique fashion-forward designer jewelry, with no attitude, no pushy salespeople, no inflated pricing games at all. Genesis not only guarantees the best price, but their quality is second to none. The world's top bridal designers have chosen Genesis as an authorized retailer because they meet the highest standards. Whether you're looking for a classic ring or ultra-modern ring, a natural diamond or lab-grown diamond, Genesis has options for you at every price point, and you will love the laid-back fun experience inside of their stores. It is as far from a Wall Street corporate box store as you can get. Genesis Diamonds, they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. And also, don't miss their amazing selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 1, 615-737-1045, our number. Nashville SC last night gets back to winning ways for a 5th straight time. 1-0 over CF Montreal at Geodis Park. The boys in gold are 8-0-1 at Geodis Park this season. The only MLS team that is unbeaten still at home in the 2026 season. And Ramon, they made a little bit of history last night.
How so?
First 5-game winning streak in MLS play in Nashville SC history.
You said they were cooking.
Club record 5 straight MLS wins. Boys in gold are in first with 12 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws this season as we near the halfway point of the MLS campaign. 39 points, 5 points clear at the top of the Eastern Conference in the Supporter Shield race. Unbeaten in 10 with 8 wins, no losses, and 2 draws in that time. Nashville SC has played 24 games this season between MLS and the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They are unbeaten in 21 of them.
Let's go.
And it wasn't pretty last night, 1-0, as they kind of knock the rust off and get back to MLS play after a 2-month break for the World Cup. Said it last time, I'll say it again. Championship teams find a way to pick up 3 points and win games like last night, and they got the job done. Sam Surridge's penalty kick with about 20 minutes left, the difference as he scores for the 10th time in MLS this season.
Good stuff, dude. You said this game should have gone like this, and good teams find ways to win. 5 in a row, first time. Is this just a hard feat in general when it comes down to MLS?
Yes, because first and foremost, Major League Soccer is one of the most challenging leagues in the world to win on the road. Okay. The travel that Major League Soccer asks of its players is as tiresome and as difficult as any league literally in the world. When you look at the points per game for road teams in Major League Soccer compared to the top 5 leagues in Europe and the other big leagues that play this sport, Major League Soccer consistently has the lowest points per game for road teams in the entire world. So first and foremost, it's hard to get results away from home. But I mean, beyond that, in any league, if you win 5 straight games, you are doing something right because there's always the ability to draw. So it's not just like a 5-game win streak when you can only win and lose. When you can draw as well, and you have teams that, as good as Nashville is, are just trying to get a draw. And you've got to beat different kinds of opponents to get to 5 straight wins. That is certainly very impressive.
Not only just that, you just get nervous about that much winning as well. It's just like you're waiting for like the ball to drop on some type of situation, and usually it's just a loss. Like if they are hitting their stride, especially after the World Cup break that they've been on as well, I think you just got to give a lot of kudos to BJ Callahan for getting those guys ready, and not just that, but having a team that's fully focused on what their goal and task are as a team. Winning and consistency is probably the hardest thing about sports. And you got a team right now in Nashville SC that's doing both of those things. And not only just that, but when guys are out, you're having other reserves step up and not let the standard drop down. And that, to me, again, Nashville SC has put together a very good franchise for a league that was pushing other cities. I ain't gonna say pushing other cities. Well, you have Messi go to Miami. You have the LA teams, right? You have Seattle and the crave that they have with their fans, or New York even. Like, this is Nashville. And you are, I always try to equate it to football in some sense, but you're a small market team like Green Bay and New England that's pretty much in a championship era right now. That speaks highly of the franchise that they've built here in Nashville, Tennessee. And honestly, it just shows that the support that this city is giving it as well is mutual at this point.
Well, they've done it spending smartly. And you mentioned Messi and some of the big market teams who will chase the big name coming here and looking to retire. That's never been Nashville SC's MO. They built this in a way that's sustainable with young talent from all around the world who wants to be here, wants to prove themselves, and wants to win. And that may sound like the bare minimum. I promise you it's not as common in this league as maybe you would think, because you do have so many players that are coming here to retire and sunset their careers that maybe aren't as encouraged to train every day and aren't as encouraged to press defensively and do the work in without the ball. Nashville SC has never had that problem, and I'm not sure they ever will.
What is the depth when you look at it of the reserves, the guys that aren't necessarily your starters? Is it as high as you want it to be? Is it just you don't really use them so you don't worry too much about it?
Nashville's has been elite. When you look at the injury list right now, no Reed Baker-Whiting, no Christian Espinoza, MLS All-Star and DP at right wing. Warren Magical still out with injury. He misses his second straight game. Patrick Yazbek has not played since end of April, early May in MLS play. You're missing at this point, I mean, just between those 4 players, you're missing 3 starters at least. You could make the argument 4 starters amongst all those guys. So, yeah, the depth has been terrific. The ability to bring in a player like Shaq Muhammad, who makes his second career MLS start last Friday against Atlanta and scores in his second career MLS start, scores his second ever MLS goal in that match. The ability to have 20-year-old Matt Corcoran, who is getting better from the new opportunities that he's been given this season after proving himself last year as a more depth player. I would consider him a first-choice player at this point, the way that he's taken the center defensive mid role over this season. And a guy like Josh Bauer, who has switched positions from center back to right back.
Right.
Now essentially full-time for Nashville on the right side of defense with Andy Nahar and Nashville kind of managing his minutes coming out of the World Cup break so far. He's been really solid defensively and has given Nashville a bit of a different look. This is a salary cap league, in a league where the roster restrictions are different than that of most other leagues around the world in soccer. So that makes it hard to build depth. It makes it really, really hard to build depth. But Nashville has done a terrific job in finding young players that can step up and do a job, and not only finding them, but coaching them up and putting them in positions to be successful and have a team that, like you said, when the numbers and names on the backs of the jerseys change, the level does not change right now. I mean, 39 points in 16 matches is an incredible pace. They're on pace to break the MLS single season points record. They're on pace for 81 points this year.
What's also cool about it, though, too, because investments have been made. You know, the stadium, Geodis, is
huge investment.
Yeah. And you like to see their return on your investment, man. And not just in good moments or, hey, this is a field. No, winning. Winning is where you want to see that return on this one, man. They go get CONCACAF. What was it, this past fall as well? Like, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the semifinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. North American Championship.
Yeah. There's a lot that they're doing on field that justifies why Nashville needed this team and why there's so much backing behind it as well. It's fun. Again, as I told you guys before, if you hadn't been to a Nashville SC game, 2 hours and some change.
Even if you don't go, tune in on Apple TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys all have Apple TV subscriptions. They're the kind of the new HBO in terms of shows that are coming out. Tune in and watch this team, even if you don't go. We'd prefer you to go, but
I'm telling them to go.
This Saturday, if you can't go to Orlando to see them take on Antoine Griezmann in Orlando City, tune in to us and tune in to the television broadcast. This team is really fun to watch. Still knocking the rust off a little bit. They've not quite hit the top gear that they hit before the World Cup break, and that's to be expected considering the amount of time they've had off, but they are not only the best team in this league right now, they are on pace to be in the conversation for the best regular season ever in this league. There's a long way to go. They're still not even at the halfway point, but that's the kind of company they're keeping right now and on pace to break the single season points record in MLS.
I'm trying to see where we at on August 15th. We'll be just getting back from San Francisco.
That's Miami and Messi, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm looking right now. That might be a good non-football event to go to.
It'd be a good one.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking at tickets right now.
After our all-nighter that we pull before we do a show after the first Titans preseason game.
Only thing I'm considering.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
From the plane.
Who's got it better than us, in the words of Jim Harbaugh.
Exactly, man.
615-737-1045 is our number. Pete Golding with a thoughtful answer on tampering at SEC Media Days. He would know. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Have you heard that a lot of corporate chain-owned jewelry stores, they're shutting their doors, good people? So many smart shoppers have figured out that cookie-cutter jewelry is boring and mediocre service is very unacceptable. That's why Genesis Diamonds is having record success. Genesis number one, they're locally owned. They're staffed by real experts with warranties and guarantees that are unheard of, with personal attention and with case after case of unique fashion-forward designer jewelry with no attitude. There's also no pushy salespeople, no inflated pricing games. Genesis is they not only guarantee the best price, but their quality is second to none. The world's top bridal designers have chosen Genesis as an authorized retailer because they meet the highest standards. Whether you're looking for a classic ring or ultra modern ring, a natural diamond or lab grown diamond, Genesis has options for you at every price point that you can think of. And you will love the laid back fun experience also. It is as far from Wall Street corporate box store as you can get. Genesis Diamonds, they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. And also, don't miss their amazing selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
7:02. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Big Tennessee Vols football news yesterday as 5-star plus running back out of Baylor School in Chattanooga, David Gabriel George, announced his commitment to the University of Tennessee. The 5'11", 220-pound running back is the number 9 overall prospect in the 2027 class and the number 2 overall running back. A huge get for Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Vols for next year's class. SEC Media Days wraps up today in Tampa Bay with Day 4. LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas all scheduled to speak for today. Last night, Nashville SC won again after beating CF Montreal 1-0 at Geodis Park here in Nashville. Sam Surridge scored his team-leading 10th goal of the season in the 68th minute off a penalty. Nashville gets their club record 5th straight win. And today, football's back in Tennessee as the Titans rookies report to the Vanderbilt Health Football Center for training camp. Veterans will report to camp next Tuesday on the 28th. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go to hour number 2 on your Thursday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. 615-737-1045 is the number. We got final takeaways from quarterback coming up here in 15 minutes. What'd you think about Cam on Netflix? Did you learn anything? If you're not, do you like him a little bit more? Maybe a little bit less? That would surprise me if anyone said that. But open for your takeaways. Stream it live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Yesterday, Ramon, tampering was a topic of discussion at SEC Media Days.
Of course.
And Pete Golding, who was in the middle of some tampering allegations from Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney on a linebacker who was all in, pun intended, on Clemson football, changed course and decided to join the Rebels. Rebel, Black Bear, Land Shark, whatever we're calling them these days. Pete Golding yesterday at the podium in Tampa talking about tampering and a very thoughtful answer on a topic he knows a lot about.
Let me put it to you this way, okay? Like it'd be, so obviously you're a reporter, right? Would you quit your job before interviewing for another job or being offered another job? No, nobody would. But we have a portal that you can go in with a do not contact. I'm going to quit my job where I'm getting paid, and I'm going to go in saying I need a new job, but nobody can call me to interview. Like, what have we created? So we've created it on top of representation for these players, right? That it's their responsibility to make sure they get paid really well and they also have opportunities. So by design, it's put a lot of people in bad positions. And let's not act like recruiting in college football for the last 100 years is the most moral thing, right, that's ever been existed. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? So I'm really not going to get into my feelings. And I know how I've been educated to answer this question, right? Does that make sense? It's where we have a great compliance department, right? And all those type of things. But no, I mean, the model obviously has been broken, and I'm all for everybody being on the same playing field and doing the same things. I get it. But I think that's in any job, right? Like coaches, we're under contract. You don't think other ADs are calling us during the year?
Ooh.
Same ones that are bitching about all this stuff are the same ones calling coaches, right, to come to other schools, right, and everything. So it's everywhere. It's in every profession. So I'm not saying I've got all the answers. I'm not saying that at all, right? Does that make sense? So we go by then the rules of the program, right, and how the flow, just like when you're on the interstate and people are flying by you, what do you start doing? You're damn right you're going to get hit, right? Does that make sense? In this profession, you're going to get fired, right? So I'm not saying that, but I think there are a lot of people that are doing an unbelievable job, Greg being one, right, to make sure that everything's catching up. College football is constantly changing, all those type of things. So hopefully we'll all, decide on what's fair for everybody.
Ole Miss head coach Pete Golding, Ramon, speaking yesterday.
He hit all the hot spots. He shot out Greg and all the compliance. He hit every little hot spot that he was supposed to hit and tried to stay on script.
Greg, meaning Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC.
And he's doing a good job. I'm just like,
I do love how he got a little bit more Southern as he went. As he got more worked up, he got a little more country.
I was thinking, that's Colonel Sanders.
Start flying down the interstate.
You're gonna get hit.
But anyway, we appreciate our folks.
We got one of the best compliance.
Yeah, Pete, how do you spell compliance?
I'm gonna be real. If he come in my house recruiting like that, I'm probably going to Oxford at that point. Okay, like just keep it real with him, Coach. That was as good as it. You got a player going into the portal with a do not contact. You don't quit your job before you get fired. I'm like, man, is he actually spitting up there right now?
What he said was interesting and entertaining. It is the half-truth.
Yeah.
It's not close to reality. And Pete Golding knows that. He's distracting from the larger discussion. This is a very, very short-sighted argument that he's making. He's totally wrong in the argument that he's making. Talking about how, why do we have do not contact? Why would anyone go somewhere with a do not contact? All right, Pete knows that half of the players with do not contact tags, that doesn't mean that they can't have contact. It means they're going to initiate it. Mm-hmm. If a 5-star linebacker wants to enter the transfer portal and enter with a do not contact tag, It means, hey, don't reach out to me. We'll reach out to you to the places where I'm interested going. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean that there are coaches that are trying to get guys into the portal who then have do not contact signs because the second they enter the portal, they already know where they're going? Absolutely, that's the case. Yeah. But I also think that there are some players who are just such big prospects that they don't want 50 coaches blowing up their phones the second they hit the database. And so they'll put do not contact to say, no, we'll reach out to you. Mm-hmm. Pete Golding knows that, though.
He does. And what's crazy, he almost got himself into a bigger pickle if he had have not made the reporters laugh, because when he said, hey, you don't think there's ADs reaching out to us to try to get us to come to this new school? Like, the proper response would have been, hey, Coach, who are the ADs reaching out? Like, he could have got himself into more trouble by trying to be funny about ADs playing the dirty game as well. And that's the point of it, that I think at the end he pretty much summarized all of this by initially getting back to it. It's like before NIL. You don't think recruiting has been one of the worst moral sides of college football? Like, we speak about the money that these kids are able to get right now. Some of them have already been getting it. And the other half of this is some of them have gotten small amounts or small benefits that have had their careers ended because compliance say you're supposed to be suspended for a year for getting a McDonald's sandwich or a ride to a dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's your countryside coming out calling it McDonald's.
McDonald's sandwich. But the point of it is he's right. It's broken. College recruiting has been broken. The first time I remember watching it and seeing it in my recruiting era was the Albert Means, Memphis, Alabama, Tennessee situation. Like, we'll even go a step further in the recruiting class, Micah or Ole Miss. Like, this has been a part of negotiating for a very long time. These big players that go to these schools that, you feel like, how did you get them? Well, you know how they got them. I'll even go back a step further in the 70s. My own dad, was flown out of town in Covington, Tennessee to a small city in Mississippi because Tennessee State was hiding him from big universities. This has been a part of it for a very long time. So I'm with Pete Golding. The whole process is broken. This whole moral compass that we're living by, it's messed up. And I think it's a very tragic situation for Dabo Swinney to have dealt with this. When he tried to go the old school route of, hey, we're keeping our guys, we're retaining them. I'm not doing the transfer portal. He's still trying
to go the old school route.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, he had to learn a hard lesson, but you either get with it, Coach, or as Pete Golding just said, get run off the highway.
It's just funny. His justification for tampering isn't something rooted in any kind of truth. It's rooted in a convenient angle and a story that he can tell that's partially true.
Yeah.
Do not contact tags are not at all what he is making them out to be. Sometimes they are.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, when a player goes into the portal with a do not contact tag, that doesn't mean that player isn't having conversations with agents and with player personnel directors and with head coaches. It just means, no, we're going to reach out to you. It's interesting. He is certainly in the middle of a very big saga. But again, like, if you're going to turn in Ole Miss, then who's Ole Miss going to turn in?
Right.
And then who's that team going to turn in? And so it's just this handshake agreement between all these coaches that are buddies who have all worked together at some previous places as well of, all right, you don't turn me in for tampering, I won't turn you in for tampering, because no one's hands are totally clean.
If I can be the pro player here for a minute in this process of how we're in this point, one of the more offensive sides of what Pete Golding and every coach is dealing with right now is how do we go from allegedly $0 given to out of high school $400,000 for a 4-star player.
It was never $0 given.
I know, but they're able to give more money to more players because it's allowed. But there was at one point in time, it might have been only like 5 players on your team getting some money and not even close to these numbers. Like, that's the most offensive part about NIL is these dollars have been there. And yeah, I'm speaking for former athletes like myself and you, Will, that have played college for free. And now they have the abilities to get this. And like, I think that's more offensive than anything else that these coaches have benefited from is you've been having this money and now coaches are mad at each other for negotiating more money for the players that they want. And it is a good old boys crew with all of these coaches and how they deal with one another and have all gotten rich and are still getting rich off of players. Say what they want to about it. If you got a bigger checkbook like they do at Texas Tech, spend it. Go get it. Win is the things that I would say to you when it boils down to this entire process. Right. I think it's very offensive to former athletes that now you can find $300,000 for a transfer wide receiver out of thin air.
I mean, let's take it a step further. There are backups that are paid in NIL money and in rev share, knowing they're going to be backups.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Staub at Tennessee this year.
Yeah. Yes.
Is the perfect example of someone who Tennessee recruited, telling him, hey, you're going to come back up whoever wins our job. Because we need somebody to come in who's played football before at the college level.
Yeah.
It was the only business for a long time where the employees didn't get a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And for all the people who were critical of, well, players shouldn't get paid and this and that, it's capitalism.
It is.
And I mean, it's the way that this country runs in business. Mm-hmm. Employees get a cut of the revenue that they help with their labor make.
Yeah.
And so now there comes the red tape around, well, in business also, you have contracts and you have non-competes. Yeah. And if I go work for this place, I can't go across the street and work for the competitor until I sit out a certain amount of time.
This is true.
There are no non-competes and there are no safeguards in this. It's one-year contracts. And so, again, I think we will get to a point where we are living in a more organized and in a more sustainable model. We're in the middle ground between the before and after. We're not really to the after yet and what college sports are going to look like eventually. And I look forward to getting there one day. And unfortunately, it's probably going to take either Congress or collective bargaining to get there.
It is, but I even look at the other side of it. I think the NFL is probably the most buttoned up when it comes down to salaries.
And they've got collective bargaining.
They do, but so does the NBA. And have you seen the Kawhi Leonard and LA Clippers, backdoor deals that they put money in a separate company that was invested by? Mm-hmm. I can see colleges doing the exact same thing.
Oh, 100%. There's always going to be cheating.
Exactly.
As long as we care as much as we do and coaches can get fired as quickly as they can, the rules kind of are what they are.
They are.
The problem is that right now you have no one who can actually enforce the rules.
This is very true. Well, I would say this, though, too. If you got a team that's a willing participant in this, like the Vols were yesterday, you smile at this. Like, you go get the guys that you probably weren't going to be able to get because there was, what was it, the Big Five, the Big Six of the schools that continually just bring in all of the 5 stars year after year, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, like Notre Dame. Like, this allows you that opportunity to be as brash as you want to, like Texas Tech can be, or how you hope. Well, Oregon's always been that way. But, like, this opens the door.
In the modern era, they have been, for sure.
This opens the door for you to be boastful about your team.
Coming up, final takeaways. 7 episodes of Quarterback, what we learned about Cam Ward. That's next. We've got final takeaways for you from Quarterback on Netflix. Some free summer Titans content for us. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045 if you want to give us your takes. We have finished all 7 episodes. We've gone episode by episode over the last week. Ramon, what is the number one thing, if anything, that you feel like you learned about Cam Ward during this series on Netflix?
You can't underestimate his competitiveness. I don't know if I've ever seen or heard a guy say, I treat my losses the same as wins. Like, there's a different feel emotionally from winning football games as opposed to losing. Like, losing helps you reset to get back on track. Winning confirms that you did good stuff good. So that, to me, was a unique saying from him, that wins and losses are the same, because the way they're different. I want to do more good that I did in my wins than I did in my losses. You know, it gives me a better template as to what works and what doesn't work. And I'm sure he has a reason for why he said it. And we get an opportunity to have a conversation with him, I'll most definitely ask him that question. But I thought it's just closing out that you can't underestimate his competitiveness and what he will do and go through to win football games and to be one of the greats. That, to me, is probably the best summary I had of him. And his one of his last statements in episode 7 was about all that happened in year 1 for him. He hopes to get better in year 2 because of these experiences, which is also leads to the coaching philosophy of you play them young, especially the quarterback position. You're going to go through your lumps. You're going to go through the pains, the negativity that comes with, playing such an inexperienced person. And to hear him acknowledge that all that he went through in 2025 should help him in 2026.
Well, I think your perspective on that's really good and really interesting on how he's wired a little bit differently, because those of us who haven't been on NFL teams see someone who talks and moves and speaks the way that he does and who is as competitive as he is and thinks, oh, okay, well, he's a pro athlete, right? Like, that's just kind of the way things are. But you're saying that he really is that different in terms of the way he treats wins and losses and just the way that he grinds.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
because that can get very cliche for those of us who aren't in it.
Yeah. I'm trying to even think of a professional athlete. I know Kobe's he says the best athlete to ever have lived. Kobe Bryant, that is. I don't know if I've even heard Kobe put it that way. Like when Kobe, gave the whole job's not done comment, it was because he was chasing a championship, like in chasing a championship mode. We're talking about regular season games and trying to gain experience as a young quarterback in this league, as a young professional in this league. And to have that approach that is never enough, like, I agree with him there. And I've even had this conversation with my young athlete, and especially my boys that I have. When you get one goal, the ones who are trying to chase being a 1%er, a professional, one of the greats, it's always what's next. But the idea of wins and losses being the same didn't register to me as much like that. And again, Cam's in a position that's super unique to where the Tennessee Titans are right now, this era of Tennessee Titans football. I do believe his mindset and attitude is appropriate for getting a team to realize losing is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. Like, winning is contagious is what we hear all the time, right? Man, get on the good team. Winning is contagious. We're talking about Nashville SC, right? 5 in a row.
They just keep finding ways to win, right?
Losing is too. I've seen teams players accept like, man, I'm just not gonna make the team this year, or he's just going to beat me. And like, when you're around people that have that loser mentality, it's infectious the same way as winning is. So if Cam's point is to say, man, y'all are better than this, we should go out and kick everybody's butt, at least to have the expectations, then yeah, I'm all in on that, because for the team that I played, that was our mindset. We walk into the stadium, we expect to win. And I think with where this team has been, like, think about what Peter Skoronski's been through. Think about what he's been through. Think about, like, Jeff gets it, most definitely. Jeff gets it. But think about the young players that you have on this team that's gone through hell the last few years. Like, they probably expect or okay when they're down 10 points in the third quarter. Like, 10 points in the third quarter is easy. That's easy to come back from if you have the right mindset and mentality of team, because naturally teams back off a little bit.
Sure.
And that's your moment to strike. So I can get the method behind the madness.
I think my question about Cam Ward, beyond the football stuff and the minutia, the accuracy, the mechanics, all those things, I continue to wonder how his competitiveness translates to maturing as a quarterback.
I saw that, though.
Well, but what I mean by that is, can you be that kind of human? Can you be that competitive and take a check down on 3rd and 12 instead of hunting down the field? Can you learn how to find a way to scramble and get outside the pocket and get down, not take hits, not dive and put your body in harm's way, and be wired that way? Because, yes, the competitiveness, the mentality, the championship mentality that Cam Ward Green brings to the table is a great, great thing. But as far as his maturity and his patience as a quarterback, at what point does that hurt him instead of help him?
That's a great...
Because I saw it hurt him at times last season.
That's a great proposition of a conversation right there. And what I mean by this, you're asking the question of, will Cam turn into a quarterback?
Right.
The competitor is there.
I have no question about his competitiveness.
It's a great question.
Does his competitiveness at times hurt him? I think at times last season it did.
When you listen to Bo Hardigree talk to him, that's what Bo was trying to get him to understand in week 1. Like, you are a competitor, but you also better play quarterback.
Well, it just feels like sometimes Cam is playing quarterback like he's playing a video game. Like when you play with your buddies and you go for it on every 4th down. And on 3rd and 20, instead of checking down to a screen or scrambling or running a running back draw, you're always throwing 4 verts.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way Cam Ward plays quarterback. And at times, he's going to make big plays because he's always hunting downfield. But at times, he's also going to take unnecessary sacks and get you out of field goal range and lose you points because he's always trying to hunt and throw the ball downfield.
It takes me to the game they showed on the quarterback documentary, the Kansas City game. He threw some good stuff at Kansas City.
Seeds,
as
he says.
It was 2 situations that you're bringing up to where you want to see him take that step. Not take his fire away. I want all the gas thrown on Cam's fire when it comes down to him being a competitor, being in the moment, being in the spirit. But when he was running towards the if you hadn't seen it, it is hilarious. Mic'd up players is by far one of the most hilarious things ever because you get to reel them when they're mic'd up. Cam throws some seeds, man, to his wide receivers in Kansas City. He's looking at the sideline and, you bleeping like that, don't you? You didn't think I was going to make that, did you? That's the side, the edge of this, of playing the quarterback position where you want to see him, like, bring it in because you might take off a coach on the other side. Or the other situation and playing quarterback is this. If you, sir, who is a protected entity in the world of the National Football League at quarterback, at the quarterback position, you either better know you got about 3 All-Pros or Pro Bowls on your offensive line before you start poking the bear of a Chris Jones type, okay? I personally was looking, like, even me, I'd have looked at Cam's like, will you shut up? I got to block him, and you're pissing him off right now. He was agitating Chris Jones. Now, the Titans won that game. Cam played well and everything, but that's the quarterback side of things that you just leave him alone. Not that you're running from it, but that is just one of the moments where you get yourself in a little bit of a trouble or pickle or extra oomph to a hit late because you're poking the bear of a defensive lineman that you are protected against. But, like,
that's a good point.
That is growth that you want to. I love that he trusted his dudes and he felt like they was going to win the game. And also after that game, too, the audio and visuals from it was that Cam was super excited. That's how you go out and win and beat
you could
people.
tell.
Like
that was after the Cleveland win.
That I get that from the Cleveland win versus the Chiefs win.
You can see the growth in him, and he played better, to be fair, in the Kansas City game.
That part too.
But also, the offense was sputtering a good bit in the first half of that game, and if it wasn't for the defense playing against Chris Oladokun and Gardner Minshew in the first half, things probably go a little bit differently there. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely see his maturity and growth of taking a little bit of a deep breath and smiling, and we're happy to win this.
But there's also twofold in maturity that has to happen in this league. An ugly win is still a dub. It might feel like a loss, But, like, it's still a win when we look back at that schedule of left side versus right side, though, right?
Sure.
And that's he's funny. Who was this? I'm not sure who said it or who brought it up. Like, I don't know if he's intentionally trying to be funny.
That's Lucas who's saying it.
But he's funny. He's
hilarious.
He's very funny.
He's not intentionally trying to, like, make jokes and be funny. He's just blunt.
Yeah.
He is a blunt person, and I mean that as a compliment.
It's like watching
He's
a scary
hilarious.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Is what he is.
Yes, he is.
For the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm
If you
an
heard
AE
him
fan.
do a press conference, and he just, there's only so much media training that guys like this can have. And I mean that in a good way. The PR staff does a great job with him in managing all these things, but you also want him to be himself because he's got an infectious personality that fans are drawn to, and I think his teammates are drawn to.
Yeah.
None of what I'm saying is supposed to be a major red flag or negative. I just think it's something for Cam to consider and something for Brian Daboll, Robert Saleh, and his coaches to continue to consider. Being so competitive and being wired the way that he is, the goal is to channel that competitiveness into winning plays, not big plays. There will be games where if you want to be that competitive about finding ways to win, the winning play is not forcing it on 3rd and 12. The winning play is scrambling instead of taking an extra hitch, getting to the backside, taking too long going through your reads, running out of the back of the pocket and trying to chuck it 30 yards downfield across your body because you think you might have a window in a scramble drill.
That's true.
How can we be competitive about doing things that winning teams do, not things that highlight players and highlight plays look like?
So I have a question. I'm truly 100% with you. I'm just looking at the entire league and the quarterbacks that's kind of come through and lived that Bronco rider life. You know what I'm saying? That cowboy life, right? Mm-hmm. The question that come up as you were saying is like, well, how was the legend of Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, the guys, Patrick Mahomes even, that extend plays, like what were they first? Did we see them as we look back on what they are? Were they more buttoned up with how they played it, just taking the check downs? And then like Aaron Rodgers, one, he sat longer than most quarterbacks, first and foremost, before he jumped on the scene like this. Mm-hmm. He sat longer. You expected the maturity side of it as well. But guys that extend plays, I'm trying to look at Cam's situation and say, well, is it because Cam didn't have many of those plays last year or many of those routine plays that you needed?
Sure.
And being on a bad team doesn't help when you don't have the support that those guys also, because Patrick Mahomes was in a good situation with a head coach.
Yeah.
Defense.
He always had Andy Reid.
Ben had defense. You look at, of course, Brett Favre's. Defense.
Cam Ward has already had more coaches be his head coach than Patrick Mahomes has had in his entire career.
So I think that's a little bit of the difference of why we're having a conversation like, let's get the basics down.
Right. Well, and I think you bring up a good point, though, on what were the original identities of good gunslingers. I think back to Patrick Mahomes. I think back to 2021 when they came to Nashville and the Titans laid it on them. Titans beat them 27-3, and he went 20 of 35, completed 57% of his passes for 206 yards and a pick. Didn't have a touchdown in that game. Even Patrick Mahomes had to learn how to take what the defense gives him. Mm-hmm. And that 2021 season, I really remember specifically because the Titans' defense was in the middle of it. The statistics started to go down just a touch, where he's coming off a 108 quarterback rating in 2020. Teams start just putting two safeties back there, giving you the underneath routes, taking away the deep stuff to Tyreek Hill, telling him, be a surgeon and pick us apart.
Ooh, yep.
And Patrick had to learn how to do that. They obviously go on to win the Super Bowl again at that point and get to the Super Bowl again at that point and win the Super Bowl in that season. And all of a sudden, he becomes more of a quarterback and less of an athlete and less of a thrower. And obviously that 2021 season we're talking about was the season they lost to Cincinnati, and the Titans were the 1 seed in 2021 and had an opportunity to go in their run that season. But they get to their Super Bowl against Philly the next year in 2022. And the February 12, 2023 is when they beat Philadelphia 38-35 and win that Super Bowl. So that's coming off of the first Super Bowl that he went to and that first run through 2020. I think back to Michael Vick is the best example of this too, Ramon. And Vince Young lived this to a lesser extent here in Tennessee. These athletic quarterbacks who then have to reinvent themselves once defenses adjust.
Yeah, man.
Patrick Mahomes had to go through that. Aaron Rodgers had to go through that. Any quarterback, you can go down the list, had to go through that. There is not a quarterback in the league that's going to have a gold jacket who didn't have to learn how to be a quarterback and how to play the check down game when the check down game is all that they're given.
Yeah.
But I think back to that 2021 game vividly, though, of like, wow, Patrick Mahomes, if you take away the deep stuff, he's got nothing. And then what did he do 1 year later? He won a Super Bowl and did so with a defense-first kind of effort. Or in that Super Bowl against Philadelphia, he was a part of the win, but he was 21-27 for 182 and 3 touchdowns. He was not
manager.
Right.
He was manager.
He was not lighting the world on fire.
No, he was not. And that's where Cam hadn't been allowed to do because of protection, because of how the offense, I'm not
and
sure.
Weapons around him. Right.
Yeah, most definitely. There was a lot of stuff that goes into this. And that's why I think it's so much, I know why there's so much hope on the fact on what Robert Saleh's done with his staff. Bringing in Brian Dable that's got experience. There's other coaches on his staff that's got a ton of experience as well. And it gives you the ability to compete with a baseline that was higher, I feel like, than we've seen in years past. And that's what you're looking for. To judge one quarterback to the other is something that it's not a one-to-one situation. Patrick Mahomes in his second year was first-team All-Pro League MVP, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's not normal what he did.
No, it's not. But
hit 50 touchdown passes his second season.
That's just ridiculous. But, again, with weapons, with a defense that supports you, and also the reinvention of yourself, too, going into that first year of starting for Patrick Mahomes is going to be super unique. I mean, for Cam, it's going to be super unique for him, too. I like the fact that Cam's very detailed in how he goes about the playbook. That's huge for him. But I think the biggest step for him this year is what you've been talking about in this segment, is this. Take what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, a throwaway is not a loss. I think, again, you go back to Caleb Williams in Chicago. He threw away the ball a good bit last year. And that was to keep his interceptions low. And it was also not to put the offense in a bad situation.
It was to keep the sacks lower.
Yes.
Because Caleb Williams has never really been a high interception type quarterback. He was sacked 68 times as a rookie and 24 times last year because he learned how to get rid of the ball.
Be safe.
Throw the ball away.
Cam
make winning plays.
Yeah. Cam learned that this year, right? Like at the end in the Jacksonville game, like be safe with
Towards
your body.
the end of the season, he started to do a better job of that.
Yeah, and those are the steps that you want to see him make. So what I learned from him, yes, ultimate competitor and everything that he does. He's a funny guy, but he also understands ball too. And I saw you put it in our rundown, like pound the rock. Like he gets where his bread is.
Said that before the Chiefs game. Said, we got to pound the rock. This is football.
Yeah.
More of that. More of that.
I think that's why I've been of the mindset of watching them cultivate this offensive line this year. I think they're bigger for a reason. It's for that. We saw the SEC go small. Well, I say the Vols. The Vols went very small on offensive line in the Butch Jones era. Really small.
How'd that work out for us?
We could not run the ball. We got pushed around. I think that's why you go get a guy like Austin Sloman. I think that's why you draft Fernando Carmona, Pat Coogan. Think about the bodies that you brought in, like big body guys. Like even Austin Deckles is a big body guy. Peter Skoronski, same thing. All across the board, you got big bodies. And that's why, because you can get all cute and throw the ball, the seed all around the yard and try to plant roots, right? And try to plant plants. But this is a plow league. You better have some mules up front that can move up and down the field, and that's why I think they want more size this offseason for them.
No, I think that's the positive of the J.C. Latham experience as well, and something that he is, I would say today, good at.
Yeah.
J.C. Latham is a solid run-blocking tackle.
Mm-hmm. Just need more of it.
Just need more consistency in the pass game.
And a game plan that'll commit to it.
Because if you're letting up 7-8 sacks again this season, we don't have as many opportunities to run the ball because we're in 3rd and 12 all the time.
That's hard living.
It is.
That's very hard living.
All of it comes back to, can you protect Cam Ward this season? If so, You're going to be in better down and distances to run the football. Chicken and the egg situation, too. If you run the ball more effectively on early downs, you're also in more sack-averse situations where you're not as at risk if you're 3rd and 4 and you can get the ball out more quickly. But everything just comes back to, is this offensive line better? I don't know if it is. Is the offensive line going to perform better because the quarterback learns more quickly how to get rid of the football? Another thing that could happen to make the offensive line better. But everything around this team, the biggest question about this football team is pass protection, an offensive line, and their ability to protect their most valuable asset, which is the guy that wears number 1.
For real. I mean, this is as simple as put, man. I wish it was that
the biggest
simple.
question.
I wish it was that simple, too, to get those answers, because it's not.
It certainly isn't. Coming up, John Summerall had some interesting comments yesterday. New Florida head coach said he would have kicked a reporter out of a team meeting for something that happened yesterday at SEC Media Days. You'll hear that audio next. Ramon Will continues. Wrapping up hour number 2 this morning at 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. So yesterday, John Summerall, new Florida head coach, was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed for his first SEC media days. So wide-eyed that when a reporter's alarm went off during his podium press conference, he got a little hot. And one of those comments was, well, kind of a joke, kind of not, in the way that he delivered. This was Florida coach John Summerall to a reporter yesterday.
Well, I'd say no two decisions are alike. You know, like Lane and I are friends, and Lane and I talked several times through the process of October, November about what it was looking like for both of our schedules of how things were going to unfold. And you'd be kicked out of our team meeting. I swear. Like, you're lucky I'm not going to throw this freaking podium right now. Like, drives me crazy.
That's serious.
I would say who is that, but I'm not going to embarrass anybody.
It sounds a little bit more tame when you just hear the audio. If you see the video of this, he ain't really joking.
He's not.
He was actually a little ticked off about this. What do you think about this?
I respect his stance on it. Him losing his top on a reporter like that, he can't do it. But the threat, I think, it landed. The threat landed. It most definitely landed. I somewhat appreciate it because, again, these reporters, they demand a lot out of coaches and ask questions that are very uneasy. And they put themselves in positions where, especially I would say not necessarily the traditional reporter, but there's reporters and journalists, but there's a lot of people that get media credentials to situations like this that aren't as professional, that think the world revolves around them and their blog site and stuff like that. And these people need to be called out in these types of moments. And of course, this guy's at the podium. You know he's at the podium, and you know that he has the attention of everybody in the room. Check your phones, turn the ringers off, respect his time as he's giving his time to you to help build up either your news outlet, your podcast, your blog site, and your social media as well. I think the respect factor is fair. He might have gone a step too far with the threat, but again, there's truth in jokes. I think the threat landed, and I know whoever that reporter is will not have an alarm the next time around.
Yeah, Dan Wolken, longtime USA Today writer, put on Twitter, he said, just to clarify, this was an alarm going off. It wasn't even a ringtone for someone. So Tom Crean quote tweeted this, former Indiana and Georgia basketball coach, said, he can't be serious on embarrassing that person. Do you think they meant for the phone to go off? Did it really need that performative reaction? At least you got laughs at that person's expense. They don't work for you or play for you. Their job is important to them too. And then John Summerall quote tweeted that and said, you are right, Tom. I wasn't serious. I was joking. That's where I would remind John to follow the first rule of comedy. Be funny. Because it didn't really seem like he was joking.
Wasn't a joke.
Obviously, on social media, this is being made into a bigger deal than it actually is. And I don't think it's really that big a deal to have think pieces on social media, which we love to do when coaches say or do anything. But, I mean, that being said, of course a media member is going to have their phone out and being used more because they are literally trying to cover the press conference and the comments that you are making. So, of course, it's going to be a little bit different than one of your players that doesn't need to have their phone out during a team meeting and obviously would be punished differently for this. I don't know. It felt like a coach. Yeah, I thought it was a little disrespectful.
From coach or from the reporter?
From coach.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I can see that. But he probably was having a bad morning.
I mean, it didn't feel like a coach having a bad morning to me. It felt like the new guy trying to prove himself a little bit, who was just a little bit more fired up to be there than maybe the coaches that have done this before. Yeah. And all day, he was a little fired up. I mean, he made a comment about the scheduling stuff. He said, well, I'm a coach of the SEC. I'm not going to complain about anything. And he made another one say, when I was growing up, I thought there were 3 leagues in football: the AFC, the NFC, and the SEC. I mean, it's kind of a bar, to be fair. Like, I'm not going to be critical of all of it. No. He was just a little fired up yesterday. There are coaches out there, and I would certainly put him in this boat, starting to learn more about him, who just can't really turn off the competitiveness and can't really turn off the competitive juices. And clearly, John Summerall is just kind of wired this way a little bit different.
My thing is, if you're going to be this guy walking into it, he got to stay this guy.
Yeah, be consistent. That's right.
Yeah, because one thing I've learned or I've heard is never argue with people that got unlimited mic time or ink. Now letters and characters on their social medias and stuff. Yeah. So this could be something where he's picked on the wrong guy, and it might follow him for a while because that attitude was kind of abrasive. But again, here's the thing. I get where he's coming from, though. I do. I ain't siding with him, but I can get why he called him out because that is his time at the podium to do his monologue on what he was trying to sell for his school. So,
yeah, not a big issue with it, but my advice for John Summerall would be if you are going to joke with a reporter, just make sure everyone knows that you're joking.
Throwing the podium at somebody, I'd love to see him try that, though. Yeah. I love
Dan Dockage put up there and said, go ahead and throw it then, big boy. Let's see it.
Oh, boy, lawsuits are real. That reporter's going to retire. You hear me?
Let's go to Kevin in Nashville next up on the phones. Good morning, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, good morning, guys. So the really quick funny thing about this, you guys might not have seen this report come out, but Dan Walken tweeted that it actually wasn't somebody calling somebody. It wasn't a ringer. It was an alarm. It was an alarm that went through the silent mode. It was an alarm on somebody's phone that accidentally went off and went through the silent mode, and the person had got up to go use the bathroom or something and left their phone sitting there, and so it started going off. And Dan Walker was the dude or one of the 2 people sitting next to it. So Summerall's looking over in their direction, and he just reaches over and turns it off for whoever the media member was who got up and went to the bathroom. So it was nobody's phone was ringing. It was just an accidental alarm, which that's happened to kind of everybody. But he went off, and that's actually what happened, though. It wasn't a media member being inconsiderate.
Sure, that's crazy. He went to the bathroom and left it on record.
Appreciate the call.
Take care.
Yeah. Yep. He left the voicemail, or he left the record on.
Funny thing is, it might have been an alarm to remind him to be there for John Summerall's press conference at the big podium.
That's insane to me, man. Good on Summerall for getting a soundbite, though. Proud of him.
I mean, at least something interesting happened at SEC Media Days at that podium.
It did, and we still got Lane today.
In the post-Spurrier era, it's just not as entertaining of an event as it used to be.
It's been decent, this one.
I mean, it's fine. It just is what it is. I like it because it gives us new information and a new way to talk about SEC football. And I will talk about SEC football till I'm blue in the face. So, I mean, it's talking about football. How bad can it really be?
Yeah.
That being said, not what it used to be.
Nah.
These coaches are so accessible now. We have less of a need for media days than we ever had before.
Yeah. And they're so quick to get fired these days, too.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, too. 615-737-1045. The big story of the morning, David Gabriel George is going to be a Vol. We'll give you the details on his NIL deal with Tennessee from what's been reported, plus what his head coach at Baylor had to say about him is high praise. You'll hear that coming up next. If you have a 2%, 3%, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Hey, it's Will Bowling. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. That's online at loanpronto.com. See how much you can get right now at 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, online at loanpronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
.801. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Big Tennessee Vols football news yesterday as 5-star plus running back out of Baylor School in Chattanooga, David Gabriel George announced his commitment to the University of Tennessee. The 5'11", 220-pound running back is the number 9 overall player in the 2027 recruiting class, the number 2 running back. Gabriel George, his NIL deal is reportedly a 3-year deal at $2 million per year. SEC Media Days wraps up today in Tampa Bay with Day 4. LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas all scheduled to speak for today. Last night, Nashville SC, they won again after beating CF Montreal 1-0. At Geodis Park here in Nashville, Sam Surratt scored his team-leading 10th goal of the season in the 68th minute off a penalty. Nashville gets their club record 5th straight win. And today, Titans rookies report to the Vanderbilt Health Football Center for training camp. The veterans report next Tuesday on the 28th. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, and hour number 3 getting started on Ramon and Will, the big ragu, Ramon Foster. Myself, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, our producer, 615-737-1045. Got Nate Washington coming up in hour number 4. Going Going to talk some more college football with you here in hour number 3. Going to reconnect with Trey Wallace next week. SEC Media Days have been very busy down there in Tampa, so we will effort him once again. So we got more time for you to jump in than we expected. 615-737-1045, our number. If you're a Tennessee fan and you're feeling good about David Gabriel George, that means we have time for you to take a victory lap on the show this morning.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. We are in it to win it when it comes down to him, man. Super excited about it. Big time get. One of those hot spots when it comes down to what you need as far as the college team is concerned. I hate that it's gotten so minimized in the NFL, and I feel like it's making a step back. Well, taking this prestige back as far as the running back position go, but this is a big time get, Will.
3-year deal, around $2 million per year, what Hayes Fawcett put on Twitter yesterday, with family travel benefits to attend games. There's been a lot of reporting around his NIL package. The offer that Tennessee had, which was reportedly the biggest on the table, they get this thing over the line yesterday for a 5-star plus talent. I thought this was a very telling quote from Baylor coach Eric Kimry, who has coached a lot of very good football players, not only at the Baylor School in Chattanooga, but also at Hammond School in Columbia, South Carolina. This guy, Ramon, has been on Shane Beamer's South Carolina staff. He has coached in college. He has coached at the elite high school level. He's been a part of 11 state championships in the state of South Carolina.
Wow.
Quoted to VolQuest yesterday, Eric Kimry saying, quote, "I don't know what his ceiling is. All-Pro, Hall of Fame, Heisman Trophy. We will have to see. He's definitely the best player I have ever coached by a mile, even when I was coaching in South Carolina." Ramon, I've seen this guy play in person. Yeah. That's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
And Eric Kimry, who is in charge of the defending state champions in D2 AAA at Baylor and Chattanooga, knows what he's talking about here. David Gabriel George is a rare talent that Tennessee got to commit yesterday for the class of 2027.
I just think when you look at the way David Gabriel George has gone about it, though, it shows what can happen when you lock in. I don't know what his family dynamic is coming out of Canada as far as the work ethic, or just the fact that DGG got to a point where he realized he could be special, and the sacrifices that they made as a family to come from Canada all the way to Chattanooga to submit themselves to his purpose, right? You listen to him speak after he committed, and they asked him, what is he going to do? You know, he's got to go eat. He going to go chill, and he's going to bed. Like, there's no extra around it. And when you have a coach like Coach Eric Kimry that says what he says about you don't know what his ceiling is, it just goes to show you that, like, there's so much left in the tank as far as his drive, his potential, and what he wants to achieve in this short lifespan of his athletic career. The lock-in component that you speak of, like, or that you see from certain guys, man, is infectious. And I think that's the other side of having a guy like him in your program, or having some of these elite players that you're around, like an Arch Manning or heck, a Diego Pavia or Eli Hendon Hooker. Like, that's infectious. Josh Dobbs even, right? Where those types of players that lock in make others around them better. And, like, that's also the other benefit of getting these 5-star plus guys is to get that plus, like, you have to be more unique than a 5-star, and that's what he is. And there's a few of them in each recruiting class, and every program wants one of those guys. They want multiple versions of that. David Sanders was in this conversation. You know, like, you're speaking of, like, 2027, Will, the idea that David Sanders is probably going to end up being a first-round left tackle, you know, because of the lock-in that you have, and that's unique in this era where everything's spoken about NIL and money and transfer portal. Like, the pureness of the game is still there. You got to go pay for it, but it's still there. And DGG seems to be one of those types of guys.
To the phones, 615-737-1045, our number. Cousin P is in Nashville. What's up, Cousin P? Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I don't have a lot to say. First of all, let me say this. I'm happy for that young man and his family, man. I mean, this is an incredible story. Like you said, Ramon, coming from Canada, man. You know, and resetting their entire lives from a different country to come down here for this young man. That's a phenomenal story. with that being said, I went to Baylor's rival high school and also Macaulay's rival high school out of Chattanooga. And I just want to say this. I hate Baylor. I don't want anything nice to happen to that football program. Unfortunately, they're going to be, a powerhouse for the foreseeable future. Obviously with Peyton Manning's kid, I'm assuming he's going to start his freshman year, at least sophomore year. So that school is going to continue to be a powerhouse. They're ranked in the country. But I hate seeing it. And I know some of you Vols fans out there can relate to the rivalry of a football and their, other teams and schools, man. So shout out to that young man personally. I love seeing these kids coming out of the city in Chattanooga, man. They're, we play good ball over in East Tennessee, Ramon. You don't know anything about good football.
Hey, West Tennessee is best Tennessee, baby.
Oh, man, I hate to hear you say that, brother. You'd have been an excellent player over in East Tennessee, man. You fit right in with our demeanor, man.
I can't lie, though. Y'all dominate on the East side. We have this conversation all the time from our West Tennessee folks. Like, the programs, I think, are well put together, as you can tell. The privates are a little bit better, I think, though, when you look at Baylor, Macaulay, and so many others that are set up in East Tennessee, though. But, for the longest, our Cole was winning each and every championship out of East Tennessee, too. I don't know what it is, but I still go best Tennessee, though.
I mean, you know what? I heard that, man. Represent, man. Much love to you guys, man.
Much love.
You as well. Thank you, Cousin P. Appreciate the call. There is a lot of animosity for Baylor, that's for sure. And he mentions the Baylor-Macaulay rivalry. One of my buddies is a Macaulay grad who is feeling very mixed feelings. But as a Tennessee fan, your boy Rob, who's one of your favorites of my friends, that is my favorite rivalry. I think it's the best rivalry in Tennessee high school football, Baylor-Macaulay.
Really?
It's got a over 100-year history. When I say that David Gabriel George last season ran for about 450 yards and 7 touchdowns in one game against Macaulay, that comes not only with just how impressive that is about the stats, that comes with a lot of history and a lot of bragging rights in Chattanooga.
I'm going to be real. That Ripley versus Covington, Tennessee rivalry is elite too, man.
Yeah. Everybody's got a big one.
Everybody got a big one.
Every county's got a big one, that's for sure. Yeah. Danny is in Hendersonville next up. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Danny.
Hey, guys. How's it going? First of all, I got no animosity towards Baylor because I grew up at Cumberland Gap High School in East Tennessee. Only school we hated was the Claiborne County Bulldogs.
There you go.
I got no ill will towards Baylor, but, man, this is just such a phenomenal commitment that Josh Heupel's team got for the University of Tennessee. And, man, I just want to say, let's make sure that, DGG's in his senior year. He's got one more year. Let's make him feel welcome. If you can get down to Chattanooga to see a game down there, man, go for it. He's going to be coming in our own backyard later this season. Baylor's going to be coming up to Innsworth here in Nashville. And, man, I'm going to go to it. Like I said, I'm from East Tennessee. I got no dog in the fight. I moved to Hendersonville, met my wife there at UT, so we love the Vols, but man, I'll be there rocking a Tennessee jersey for that game, just watching this guy play in person for the first time later this year. So, man, that's just all I got to say. Let's make them feel welcome. Let's show them what Tennessee's all about. That's all I got to say, really.
I love it. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate the call.
Danny, just like me.
September 25th, David Gabriel George and Baylor travels to Nashville to take on that's actually when I was looking at the wrong schedule. They play October 23rd. Baylor plays at Innsworth. That's the next to last game of the regular season. That is a region game as well. Big time game.
It is, man.
Tim Hasselback's Innsworth Tigers.
The BA game is
August 20th. Brentwood Academy versus Baylor. There will be at least, if everyone stays where they're committed, 3 future Vols on the field that day, just in the class of 2027 between BA linebacker Kenny Simon, BA wide receiver Keyshawn Bowman, and the aforementioned David Gabriel George for Baylor.
Is that in chat or is it here?
It is in Chattanooga. That's the game that was supposed to be here last year that Heupel and Peyton Manning were here for.
Yeah.
That then got rained out and was never rescheduled. Then BA and Baylor played in the state championship game, and it came down to the final drive, and Baylor barely eked out a win over Brentwood Academy last year in the state title game.
Thursday night game this year, too.
It is a Thursday night. August 20th in Chattanooga.
And
I'm tempted to go. I'm serious.
That might be a good time, man. Be real. That chat drive, the Mount Eagle side of it, though, is the part that kind of gets me, getting up and down especially.
Yeah, sure.
But not that it gets to me. Like, it slows down a lot around that region. That's the only thing that'll throw you off about going to that game. But most definitely, that's going to be a high game. And two, Keyshawn Bowman is elite. Kenny Simon is both elite as well.
VA's got two incredible UT commits as well.
I'm not sure where how this matchup is going to unfold because Baylor is strong, but BA is
just as strong this year.
I was just going to say that
they were last year too. I mean, BA probably a lot of people over there will tell you they should have won that game in the state title game.
They
last
ain't
season.
got DGG though.
No, they didn't. I'll tell you what though. I don't know if DGG was totally healthy when they played. That's the game where I saw DGG play in person for the first time, being there in the state title game last year. I don't think he was 100% healthy.
Okay. Yeah.
But him versus Kenny Simon, Kevin Simon's son, for Vols fans who remember him at Tennessee, popped him a couple times, and you could tell DGG kind of look around like, I've been tackled like that very much this year.
Yeah, man.
That is a heavyweight matchup, and two of the best teams that not only are in the state of Tennessee, but in the South. In the Southeast United States this year with how good BA and Baylor will both be this year.
And both of them are ranked nationally as well.
Yeah, Max Preps has Baylor 12th and Brentwood Academy 14th in the country to start the season.
Yeah, I wonder where Ripley High School is on that list. By the way, whoever Thomas is in our YouTube chat said, you didn't know I went to Ripley High School. Man, I rep the Tigers all the way, 731.
Absolutely.
Come on, Thomas Allen, what are you talking about?
Absolutely.
Ripley High School alum over here. I'm going back next week, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
Yeah, they also got an alumni game next week, kid. Basketball. Oh.
Like the alumni are playing in a basketball game?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, HE double hockey sticks. No. Okay?
You could throw some folks in the boom boom room.
Heck no. I wish I would run up and down a basketball court for charity for some people that I
nobody said
probably
you have to
bodied
run
in
up
high
and down
school.
the floor. You just got to be ready on the low block to
Listen, they also
get the entry pass and go up strong.
They've thrown an alumni football game there as well.
Now that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I'm thinking to myself,
that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
If I in any capacity go out on the football field with alumni of my high school to play football,
bunch of people who went pro in something other than sports,
straight up. And I love my people, but no, super no on that one.
When we come back, let's talk a little more SEC football as we wrap a bow on SEC Media Days week and hear from the Final Four coaches today. Lane Kiffin is about to begin his routine at the podium.
The routine. For
lack of a better term, his stand-up routine. He did apparently just say, by the way, real quick, that he has deleted social media apps off his phone. Really proud of him. Love that for you, buddy. Love that, Lane.
I just can't with Lane.
Has he deleted numbers of the prospective athletic directors who will be calling him as soon as things
go south?
Yeah, right. Probably not.
I mean, how long is Kellen DeBoer's contract at Alabama?
615-737-1045, our number. Let's talk a little bit about the local teams, about Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Where are you at as far as expectations? What are the win totals that make the most sense for Tennessee and Vanderbilt as we close the door on talking season today? That's next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. Are you dealing with flickering lights, faulty outlets, or a circuit that won't stay on at home? Well, Lee Company has your back. Their award-winning team of electricians handle it all. From routine repairs and fixture upgrades to whole home generators. Available 24/7. Keep your home efficient and safe by contacting Lee Company online at leecompany.com. When you get Lee Company out there to fix something around your home, you are getting the job done right the first time. Lee Company's been trusted since 1944 here in Middle Tennessee. When a problem comes up at the worst possible time, the best news is they're available 24/7. They're going to be out there quickly to help you out with 16 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia. Get the very best players on your team and take care of those flickering lights or faulty outlets by heading online to leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it because you don't have to. You can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. What's up? It's Will Bowling. That's right. With Loan Pronto, you can get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. It gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process, and listen, no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Leave your low-rate mortgage intact, but get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. That's online at loanpronto.com. See how much you can get right now at 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, online at loanpronto.com. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Hour number 3 of Ramon and Will, getting you on your Thursday morning commute, whether you are commuting from the kitchen to the home office or down one of our many crowded interstates around Middle Tennessee. Grateful you decided to make us a part of your morning. So expectations for the local teams in the SEC are interesting this year, going from old veteran quarterbacks to brand new, potentially true freshman starters, and reset expectations. Ramon Foster, let's start with the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yes.
Where is your confidence level in Josh Heupel and Tennessee's ability to improve from what it was last season at 8-4? Is this team better, the same, or worse in 2026 for you?
Just as a roster, should be better. You didn't lose a whole lot offensively. You retained a lot. Defensively, you have a guy that you can trust in Jim Knowles that's got a lot of experience on calling plays defensively. He understands scenarios. I think they'll have a better idea of what concepts they're running, what defenses and coverage they're supposed to be in when it boils down to what Tim Banks had those guys do versus what Jim Knowles' system asked of them. He brought guys with him from Penn State that's played in this system that can be player coaches on the field and put guys in the right direction. You look at you look at one of the corner situations when it come down to Ty Redmond being settled there. You should have better safety play, and that in itself should raise the floor. There was a lot of bumps and bruises and growth that happened last year for the Vols. They were the youngest SEC team last year, hands down. Wasn't even close from my understanding. And in that, the retention of those players, the growth of those players, I think should benefit the Vols way more this year. I feel like, again, I saw a lot of the discord on social media yesterday, and we're the braggadocious side of the SEC from beat writers, just saying stuff about what the SEC is, and everybody's saying this. And, they pointed out Tennessee, and they pointed out Arkansas that didn't beat a team with a winning record type.
Missouri was the other team, I believe, yeah.
Didn't beat a team with a winning record. Still made a bowl game, still competed, and still what I think is the best conference in college football.
Still was a field goal away from beating the team that won the SEC at Georgia.
No doubt about it. The bones of what the Vols have should be stronger this year. I hadn't even mentioned the offensive side of things. If they rely on their workhorse and Deshaun Bishop to be able to carry the load for them with a young quarterback in general, I think that sets them up for more success in this year than it did in last year. Again, now the schedule's harder.
The schedule is harder.
Most definitely the schedule is harder.
I think there's a world where this team is better, but the record is worse.
Could be.
Than it was last year.
No doubt. I can see that.
I think if you gave last year's team this schedule, they might be 6-6 or 7-5.
Right.
I think this team has a chance to get back to 8 wins. That's kind of where I'm at right now. As we sit here on July 23rd, I think I'm sitting on 8 wins for Tennessee.
You are. Okay. You sitting on 8?
I think so. I think 8 wins, similar type bowl game, Tampa or Orlando. You're in the playoff hunt in mid-October. I just see too many obstacles with a totally new quarterback and a totally new defensive system that's not known to take right away.
Yeah.
In what Jim Knowles is bringing in. I do like the fact that you have a number of contributors coming from Penn State who aren't new to this system that maybe help you smooth over some of the growing pains. That said, there's only so much a defensive coordinator can do, and you can't get pressure with 4. And that is my biggest concern, more than quarterback, about this football team, is their ability to rush the passer and create pressure on a number of really good quarterbacks they're going to see. Because you're going to see Arch Manning, Byron Brown, Lenora Sellers, Marcel Reed, Sam Levitt, and that's just the beginning of it. You're going to see a lot of really good quarterbacks in your 9-game SEC schedule this year, and I worry about Tennessee's ability to affect those quarterbacks.
And to not leave out, of course, the trickeration of what Georgia Tech's offense presents to you.
Right. It's not quite Paul Johnson flexbone anymore.
No,
and there's a new offensive coordinator there because Buster Faulkner's down there with John Summerall turning off his phone alarms in Florida. But that being said, that is a road environment for a true freshman or redshirt freshman quarterback that is certainly far from a gimme.
No doubt. You brought up a valid point. It's kind of where I said you were naming all the quarterbacks. I'm more worried about the defense holding up as opposed to what the offense provides.
Because you've got 8 starters coming back on offense, and I don't think you're going to have to ask that quarterback, whoever it is, to really do all that much.
Yeah.
Because you've got a great offensive line and you've got a great running back coming back.
And it's one thing to also have a defense that can get after the quarterback, but when you're asking linebackers to play into that world as well, like that's fascinating. Like I believe in what Arion Carter can do. I believe in what Jaden Prelati is as a maniac on a football field. Coach Inge loves that type of style, but this is also two guys at a position that are not natural rushers. They're natural blitzers. They can get off, from depth, but lining them up at the line of scrimmage or being able to time up a blitz to get pressure or to get a quarterback down, that's a unique situation.
Yeah, because I think Arion Carter is almost a part-time edge rusher this season, the way I see it.
Same. And
as athletic as he is, if anyone can do that, it's him.
Yeah, I look at Jaden Prelati's situation as well. Him being more, I think he can play off the edge better than Arion Carter. I expect him to. But the experience side of it is just different. If I had a linebacker that I was going against at any level, rushing off the edge, it's a dub. It's
Meaning
the way I look
like
at
an off-ball linebacker.
Off-ball linebacker, yeah, correct.
Right.
If I have an off-ball linebacker rushing, I feel like I'm going to win that more times than not. And that's what you run into. Like, this isn't...
The bag isn't as deep.
No, it's not. And it's not like a Michael Parsons situation. Like, unless, like, boy, if Jaden Prelati could turn into that, or Arion Carter could turn into that, like, that's a different weapon who comes from a Penn State defense.
It's kind of a Femi Oladejo situation.
It is. So, getting pressure off ball exposes you. There are gaps in your zone, especially if you don't get home and you're running up against a Texas offensive line or Alabama offensive line that could pick up those blitzes. This, to me, has got to be a year in which Neyland needs to be more toxic than it ever has been.
There are just a lot of swing games that are winnable and losable this season.
Very much.
There's not a gimme in SEC play. If there's one that you feel most confident about, it's probably Kentucky at home. But again, that's a really good transfer portal class that Will Stein has brought in.
It's homecoming.
Right. Right. You've got to have homecoming now against SEC teams, the way things are constructed.
Yeah.
So at this point, looking at this schedule, I would say 8 wins. I think you go 3-0 in non-conference against Furman, Georgia Tech, and Kennesaw State. Right now, my 4 losses that I would have on here, if I'm just guessing and throwing darts today, Texas at home, South Carolina on the road, A&M on the road, LSU at home. Those are my 4 losses the way I look at it today.
You got South Carolina on the road as a loss?
I do. Hard place to play. You know how it is with Tennessee under Josh Heupel. There's one road game that you probably should win that you lose more often than not. Last season, that game was Mississippi State, and they found a way to come back and win it late in overtime. But right now, as I sit here, that is, I think, a good season for Tennessee. I think you are looking at a ramp to 2027 when, again, the 5 stars are going to align with Faison Brandon, David Sanders, TK Keys, David Gabriel George, maybe Mike Matthews, who I think is NFL bound after this year. That's why I didn't count him in that when I sent out my tweet yesterday about it. Would you consider that, with those losses that I'm giving you, losses against Texas? Again, this is with a win over Alabama. You would win the 3rd Saturday in October again in this circumstance. This is with losses to Texas, at South Carolina, at A&M, and at home to LSU. That's 8-4. Is that a successful season in 2026 for Josh Heupel? Yes,
and
sir.
You say lost to LSU as well?
Yes.
Only one I push back on is at South Carolina. I think they beat South Carolina.
But again, in this world, you're beating Alabama. If I give you this season,
I still take that one. I just, in my personal opinion, unless they fully reshaping their offensive line, I look at the athletes that the Vols have and how they're going to play thick to the line of scrimmage with bigger defensive ends and the speed that they have at linebacker to be able to control Lenore Sellers more than anything.
Again, like from a football perspective, I know Tennessee's better. I just also know what Tennessee looks like for one road game a year in the SEC
no doubt.
when they decide for all hell to just break loose.
I'm subtracting that one, but other than the South Carolina game, I'll take that all day. I would take that all day with this version of this team.
So you're
saying
saying it would have to be 9-3 and you win that South Carolina game.
I just hate to see. Well, I just can't count the South Carolina game as a loss. It's the way I look at it.
You have a little more hate in your heart for South Carolina than I do.
South Carolina.
You also played in an era, again, we talk about it so much. You played in an era of Tennessee football where South Carolina was as close to a rival as it's ever been because it had Steve Spurrier.
If we're talking about an 8-4, yeah, no doubt about it.
You played against Spurrier,
I
South Carolina, so there's a little more hate in your heart for South Carolina.
Stand them, okay?
They don't. That's the SEC East team. I feel the least amount of things for,
and for no reason they're
not
not threatening. But then I also look at the 22 set. I look at the Hendon Hooker injury as well, and how the fans also celebrated. Like they were nasty about that. So it just piled on to my hate.
It was a big win.
My quiet hate. Like, it ain't even a big hate for South Carolina.
No, I think you've got a pretty big hate for South Carolina.
Screw them. Bleep them, okay? With that being said, I would swap out that South Carolina loss to Georgia Tech if I'm just being real with you. Night game in Atlanta at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Yeah. If you were looking at losses, then I'd much rather take that loss as an ACC and not an SEC loss.
Who do you think starting quarterback is going to be?
For Vols?
Yeah.
Simple.
Do you have any confidence either way yet? People are starting to.
I'm
really?
real, which I do. It's Faison.
Really?
In my personal opinion, I know. Hub's gonna come here tomorrow and be like, Ramon, you're just baiting at this point. The formula set itself.
Why do you think it's Faison?
If you got two even guys, and one's at the weight proportion that you need him to, and the other one's not. One's younger than the other. You have an opportunity to believe that the one that they last rated as a 5-star, who has a lot of mobility in him and is not really afraid to use it, I think a little bit quicker than George because George got it. I just think you run a risk of losing Faison, but you be okay with losing George in this situation. It's just the way I look at it. Like, you go with the younger guy. You go with the guy that you feel like that came in with a lot of the recruits that he's in that class with. You go with them. I just think the momentum of it has kind of shifted way more to Faison than it started with George.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say that because I'm a George McIntyre fan.
Me too.
But the way these coaches work in the system of you go with the young dude, I saw a guy that had just won the Super Bowl, and Jeff Hartwig, former Titan as well, get uprooted by a guy who's a rookie because they were equals. Marquise Pouncey got Justin Hartwig cut because he was younger and was almost at the same level than him. Mind you, he just won a Super Bowl. Coaches work this way. They're going to forever go with the younger, newer thing that they feel like they can build more of a sustainability with, because if you do start George, then you're telling me that Faison's going to sit for 2+ years? Whichever one of these guys do lose, it's smart. They're going to transfer out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other part of it as well.
I think that Faison Brandon is a safe bet at this point.
I hate even say that.
Why is that? Why do you hate saying it?
Because it's unfair to the competition. It's
what do you mean?
My job. Like, the competition is they're supposed to go in the camp even kill on even playing. But coaches don't operate like that. They just don't.
Coaches often have a guy they'd prefer to win the job.
Absolutely. And they'll never say it.
And that's not totally fair to the other guy.
It's not.
Sure.
And that's why I hate saying, because I know too much about the process. You feel me?
I get that.
Like living in the NFL lifestyle too. Even myself at the University of Tennessee felt like, oh, I'm better than that guy. And they tried to put a guy over me at the time, and I just had to beat him out. Like, that's the other part. George has the ability to control this competition.
No question. No question. And I still go back to the offense that George ran at Brentwood Academy his sophomore year when he really burst on the scene. That was this offense. He has run the Heupel system in high school, and the thing that George McIntyre does best from the games I've watched him play at Brentwood Academy, and I've called a number of them, is he is an excellent downfield thrower. He throws a beautiful deep ball.
It's pretty. It's tight.
And if that's the thing that he can do and take what the defense gives him, and when there are layups, maybe not layups, a 40-yard deep ball over the top of the defense isn't a layup.
Not a layup.
When there are mid-range shots to hit, George McIntyre's got to hit them. From what we've heard, he's got to also let it rip and take those chances downfield.
Can't play scared.
And I feel like George McIntyre has maybe held onto the ball a little bit too long and has taken some unnecessary sacks from all the reports that we have heard, and from what Austin Price and Brent Hubbs have told us here on the show in their weekly visits. The fact of the matter is, this competition really begins in earnest when fall camp begins.
No doubt.
And there are two major touch points for this job to be decided. And that's a pair of scrimmages that are going to happen during fall camp. So whatever we feel like is the case or is a safe bet at this point really doesn't matter, Because if one guy comes out and starts to take this job with two hands in fall camp, that's the guy that's going to get this job.
Oh.
You're going to weight those scrimmages way more significantly than you are spring practice. Right?
Than almost any era in UT history. Like, I go back to the Eric Ames, Brent Schaefer competition.
Yeah,
like my freshman year.
Who was in the lead at this point of the summer in that competition?
Rightfully so, should have been Ainge. But Schaefer has some dynamic parts to his game that made it exciting.
So that's what, if I'm George McIntyre, would concern me.
Yeah.
Because I think Faison Brandon gives you more of the design quarterback run element in this offense.
Yep.
If we're going back and if that precedent is true in this competition, I think Faison Brandon is the more dynamic playmaker who can do more.
But here's the other part, though, too. This offense is very quarterback friendly. I'm not sure if Randy Sanders' offense was very quarterback friendly as far as learning.
At the end, it wasn't.
At the end, it wasn't, and that's why Eric Ainge benefited so much from David Cutcliffe coming in because it was quarterback friendly and how they went about going to get it. Now, here's the thing about it: if George let go of the ball, lets go of the ball, and go sling it. And throw sleeves and plants.
You don't mean turnovers. You mean let's go to the ball as in let's it rip.
That's the part of it to me where I think he can edge out Faison to where the coaches got to sit back and just say, we cannot not start him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that part. But if he's hesitant in any kind of way, just with what we've seen with the legs, and George got speed too. George got the ability to run.
He's an improviser.
He's an athlete as well.
Yep, right.
But the decision-making that you somewhat kind of seen in the spring game a little bit was just like, oh, okay, like this is kind of fascinating how aggressive George wants to be. You can't play safe in this one.
Brent Hubbs has put it well. You're not going to run QB power probably as much with George McIntyre on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and goal from the 3. But if the play breaks down and George needs to run, he is a very capable athlete to make some guys miss, get out of the pocket, and move the chains with his legs.
No doubt.
You're just not going to see as many designed quarterback runs. So how important is that to Josh Heupel?
Well, this offense, I think, needs it because of how it's spread out so much. Though.
Right.
Like, that's the other component of it. Like, you better have a quarterback. Like, Nico getting his helmet cracked in Ohio State it wasn't a beautiful play for him, but, like, that's what this offense is designed for, is get a mobile quarterback, the ability to move the chains. Hendon needed to be safer with that. Joe Milton needed to do it more. I thought the perfect balance was last year with Joey Aguilar. Joey did it well.
I thought so, too. I thought he picked really good moments to run and use his legs. I would have loved to see what the season looks like at the end if he didn't have the arm injury that he had and having a tumor in his throwing arm that he said was causing him pain late in the season. Because you saw, especially in that Vanderbilt game, you didn't see the explosive pass game down the field.
Even.
The arm strength was not there for Joey Aguilar late in the season.
No.
It just wasn't.
No.
In the same way that we talk about how the Vanderbilt offense was handcuffed late in the 2024 season by all of Diego Pavia's injuries, maybe to a lesser extent, Tennessee's offense was handcuffed, I think, with some of Joey Aguilar's injuries. And I don't know if he'll ever totally admit that. It's what it looked like to me at surface level. He did not have the ability to throw that deep ball the way that he was earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Vanderbilt, though, when we come back. Expectations on West End heading into a pivotal season with a new freshman quarterback and a bit of a reset for Clark Lee and the Commodores. We'll talk about win totals and what makes sense for Vanderbilt coming up next. Ramon Will continues on 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3. There is some criticism of the David Gabriel George NIL deal from a frequent guest on 104.5 The Zone that we will address coming up in 15 minutes. Todd Furman saying roster building is broken, considering how much DGG is getting paid by Tennessee. We'll react to that coming up here in 15 minutes.
Oh, don't tell me that. But, okay.
Talking about Vanderbilt, though, Ramon. Clark Lee says last season Vanderbilt did not arrive. It was simply another step in the process, a step in the process of becoming a championship program. What is reasonable this season? Where are you at in terms of wins for the Commodores in 2026?
Man, they can be as good as 8-4. Can they squeeze out 9? I'm going to be real with you. Looking at the schedule, it's not that menacing. It's not, in my own personal opinion. Like,
I think they have a good lead up to their hardest games.
Yes. A real good lead. They should start the season off, and I feel like Vanderbilt strategically does this. Like, I don't want to call them cupcake their way into certain situations, but even last year, you just looked at them like you thought Virginia Tech was going to be a real big, challenge for them, and it wasn't last year. They absolutely dismantled Virginia Tech. But the first, Austin Peay, check game. Delaware, check game. NC State, you don't know what you're going to get out of them.
I will give credit to our good friend Jeff Ferris and Chris Parsa, the quarterback at Austin Peay. That's a good FCS team. But yes, it is an FCS team.
Well, shout out to Jeff Ferris.
I want to give respect to the Govs, who are certainly a formidable opponent. September 5th, going to First Bank Stadium.
If they beat them, Jeff, my bad. I apologize. On July 23rd, you cooked, okay? But that game was set up for a reason. Most state teams have, big universities got to play state teams.
I think the Auburn game is a major swing game for Vanderbilt.
Very.
Major swing game.
Like, that's where I'm kind of at with them. And, like, it's a couple of things that go into it. One, where's Jarrett going to be and how much Jared Curtis is going to be used, their quarterback.
Yep.
How will they supplement? This is the big issue that comes down to it. If the defense is still as good as we think it is, and Clark Lee, that's his calling card and how he earns his check, I feel like, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
If that defense hold up the way it did last year, will you have a 2 running back system that allows you to go eat off the plate that Diego Pavia left?
Meaning, last season, Diego Pavia was this team's leading rusher as well.
Exactly. So are you doing a 2 running back system? Are you asking a freshman and Jared Curtis to run the same way Diego Pavia did?
I think that's a really good question. Is Jared Curtis the same type of threat with his legs that Diego Pavia was?
Right.
I don't think he necessarily is.
And that's the biggest question, too. And there's no disrespect or minimizing.
No, it's more a credit to Pavia as much as anything.
It is. And I don't want to play like Clark Lee's not a good coach.
Oh, he's a great coach.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Tim Beck is an outstanding offensive coach as well.
The same way we look at each coaches at their respected universities, like he's got a new quarterback, and you just kind of respect what they are and that they'll get them together. I want to expect that Clark Lee's going to get Jared Curtis together. But we have to also acknowledge that Diego Pavia was a unicorn when it comes down to what that team needed and what he provided to them week in and week out, even in losing efforts. Like, that game they had against Alabama last year could have easily gone to a Vanderbilt win. And I mean, more easier than we're giving
Texas
credit for.
Was within reach.
But what is the X factor and also the dagger in those games? It was Diego Pavia, the fumbles on the runs.
And there were also games that they could have lost that they ended up pulling out, like the Auburn game at home that was very close to being a loss.
The one thing that we don't know where they're going to find it from on this Vanderbilt team, who's your agitator? Jared Curtis found ways in, I think, the Texas game to get a 15-yard penalty on the sideline because he pulled a guy's hip, and next thing you know, he dumped Diego Pavia on the sideline for 15 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, right.
Diego was strategic. That's the perk of having a veteran quarterback, and it wasn't all Diego. He had a stud veteran offensive line as well. What is that looking like?
And now 4 of the 5 of the offensive line are new this year.
So, I mean, you can go 9-3 with Vanderbilt. You can go 8-4. You can also go 6-6.
I think Vandy is one of many teams. I'd put Auburn actually in this as well. I'd throw Kentucky probably in this tier of SEC teams that could go 5-7 or could go 9-3. I think Vandy's a 6-win team this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm looking on paper right now, I've got losses at Auburn and Georgia, at home to Ole Miss. That's 3. I think they lose in the Swamp. That's 4. I think they lose to Tennessee. That's 5. I think they lose to Alabama. That's 6.
Mm-hmm.
So then, in order to get to 6-6, if those are your 6 losses, you got to handle business against Arkansas. I think Arkansas is the worst team in the SEC by a wide margin.
Yeah.
And you got to win in Lexington and in Starkville. And those are far from gimmies. Now, granted, those 6 losses aren't guaranteed either. They could beat Tennessee. They could win in the Swamp. They could handle business against Alabama again, a team that they've performed really well against the last 2 years. And certainly a couple years ago, they beat them when the goalpost was thrown into the Cumberland River. But to me, the question is, can you be the same kind of ball control offense that can afford to run slow tempo, keep away from really good opposing offenses, and get teams out of their rhythm and identity because you are prolonging 6, 7, 8-minute drives? Can you do that with a freshman quarterback who isn't going to mask some of your deficiencies the way Diego Pavia did? Vanderbilt had a good offensive line last season. I'm not going to take anything away from that group. They were really good. That being said, there were 10 to 15 more sacks on the field last season that weren't sacks just because of Diego Pavia's escapability.
Seriously.
I'm not sure Diego Pavia. I'm not sure Jared Curtis brings that same level of elusiveness and escapability to get away from would-be sacks as a true freshman.
One, because he's bigger.
That's no disrespect to Jared Curtis. That's a tip of the cap to Diego Pavia, who played at a Heisman level last season. Mm-hmm. Of course you're going to have a drop-off in your ability to elude sacks and get away from guys. Oh, and by the way, it's not the same offensive line that played last season. 4 of the 5 starting are going to be new this season. All that being said, I do think they're better on defense this year. And they're really good at the safety position. Autara coming back on the defensive line is big. You got to replace Patterson at linebacker, but they've got Longwell who's back. They've got a lot of veteran defensive players, and you have a great defensive mind in Clark Lee in charge of that defense. I think they're better on defense. I think they're worse on offense. I think this is the beginning of a new cycle for Vanderbilt, who is, I think, a year or two away from being, if everything falls right in the transfer portal and high school recruiting, a year or two away from what it was last season.
Just looking at the, you mentioned them winning at Kentucky, so I decided to look at Kentucky's schedule because our Vandy residents have said that they've won at Lexington the last 3 times. So it made me want to look at their schedule, see where Kentucky would be at by the time they got to Vanderbilt.
October 24th.
Kentucky's got the worst setup of a schedule, I think, of anybody in the SEC.
They got to Arkansas would say, hold my beer.
Well, they got Youngstown State, then Alabama week 2, at A&M week 3.
Talking about Kentucky here?
Kentucky.
Yeah.
South Alabama.
That's a tough schedule.
And at South Carolina, then LSU for homecoming.
Kentucky may be like
then at Oklahoma.
Twice as good as it was last year and still might not make a bowl game.
Still might not make a bowl.
Yeah.
No, straight up.
Yeah.
This is the setup of the schedule looks bad. Like you said, Arkansas is probably in that conversation too. I haven't looked at theirs.
the same way.
They are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Floor 6-6. Ceiling, I take it back, but 8-4 for Vanderbilt.
I think the floor is probably 4 or 5 wins.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I mean, again, there are not many programs in this sport right now that can replicate a ceiling season back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt had a ceiling type season last year for what the program is right now. 10 wins is literally, historically, the ceiling for Vanderbilt football. There are probably only 5 or 6 programs that can then do that the next year because of the way you lose transfers every year. You lose 23 and 24-year-old super seniors the way that this program did. It's really hard to do that again year over year. Yeah, so I'm not trying to disrespect Vanderbilt. Tennessee hasn't replicated 2 straight playoff caliber seasons.
Yeah, it's tough.
Tennessee, I think Tennessee is in the middle of a rebuild cycle pointing towards 27. I think Vanderbilt is trying to get the arrow pointing up into 27 and 28 as well.
What they're learning, we're learning, everybody, it's hard.
Very hard.
It's hard.
Always has been, but especially now. 615-737-1045 is our number. Todd Furman with some strong criticism of the NIL deal that Tennessee gave David Gabriel George $2 million a year. Is that an overpay for a running back? We'll talk about that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody likes dealing with the plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency at all. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you if it get fixed right, or if somebody's trying to sell you something you don't need. When you reach out to Hiller, the experts, they solve your problems quickly, and the price you're told is the price that you would actually pay with no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated, which means they care about the business and they care about the work they do with you. Their techs, very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And when they're on their way, you receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time so you're not sitting around wasting your time. Listen to me. They believe in this. 100% satisfaction every single time. Their motto is happy you'll be, or the service is free, and they mean that. To learn more about Hiller, simply head over to happyhiller.com.
9:02. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Big Tennessee Vols football news yesterday as 5-star plus running back out of Baylor School in Chattanooga, David Gabriel George, announced his commitment to the University of Tennessee. The 5'11", 220-pound running back is the number 9 overall player in the 2027 recruiting class and the number 2 running back. Gabriel George's NIL deal, reportedly a 3-year deal at $2 million per year. SEC Media Days wrapping up today in Tampa Bay with Day 4. LSU, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Texas all scheduled to speak today. Last night, Nashville SC, they won again after beating CF Montreal 1-0 at Geodis Park. Sam Surridge scored his team-leading 10th goal of the season in the 68th minute off a penalty. Nashville gets their club record 5th straight win. Today, football is back in Tennessee as the Titans rookies report to the Vanderbilt Health Football Center in Nashville for training camp. The veterans report to camp next Tuesday on the 28th. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour on your Thursday morning. Nate Washington going to hang out with us here in 15 minutes. We are within a week until Titans training camp. We'll get his thoughts on Cam, on Carnell, on the offense, on the vibes heading into camp season. He is Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer. 615-737-1045 is our number. So Tennessee got a commitment from David Gabriel George, as you know by this point. Baylor School running back who is listed by On3 and Rivals as a 5-star plus running back. And reportedly, the details around his NIL deal say that he'll get a $2 million package per year for a 3-year deal with family travel benefits to attend games. Hayes Fawcett put this out on Rivals yesterday. Todd Furman, regular guest on 3HL, Bet the Board podcast. Great follow, great guest on 3HL has been for a long time.
Every Wednesday.
Tweets out, I'll never blame the player for getting his, but if a running back is commanding this in NIL, the economics of the system and roster building are broken. Ramon, your thoughts?
Should have said the same thing for Tyler Lindenbaum at center with the Raiders. Like, there are anomalies that happen. For the longest, Adrian Peterson was the highest paid running back at his position, far above any player that comes down to it. Like, I like Todd. Todd's super cool. We follow each other and everything now on socials. I can't do what he does as far as the betting side of things now, even though it seems like he gives good information. He won't allow it. But this is just a new situation. It's the way I view this. This isn't a breaking, the rules of negotiating. This is, if you are elite, then this is what happens. And teams have money now that we're not used to them having this type of bread to go out and get guys. Hell, if that's the case, we need to be talking about what Texas Tech is doing year in and year out for the prospects that they are paying coming out of high school, which whatever those numbers are and packages that they're getting, I'm sure is far above what the market suggests at the time. Like, they're resetting the markets when it boiled down to this type of stuff. You pull a guy like Cam Coleman from Auburn and go to Texas, I'm sure that was more than market value for a guy like this. This is just a new world for college football in which these types of deals are facilitated. Is it because he's just a running back that boils down to it? Partially. But the other side is Ole Miss, Texas, numerous other schools have negotiated in contracts private jet hours for quarterbacks and other players. This is just what we know to be reported. And maybe it's because Adidas' involvement in it makes it an anomaly or this strange, because when did Adidas become so serious about pouring into sports?
Well, I think it's just a very famous recruitment and very popular recruitment because the kid's that good.
How long has Jets been a part of these negotiating? Was it John Mateer that had a jet deal or has a jet deal with Oklahoma?
I believe Carson Beck had one. Brennan Sorsby, obviously, before he was suspended and gambled away a lot of money, had some travel perks as well.
Yeah. This is just new. We're not even speaking about if there's any issue in all of this is the leased and loaned cars that have to go back. I got a bigger issue with that than saying, hey, my family probably wants to go back to Canada because I'm no longer living at the Baylor School. Let's negotiate this and try to finalize this deal. We look at last year's situation. Carson Beck at Miami. He gets to Miami and get both of his cars stolen, or 2 of them broke into.
Yeah.
These aren't just regular Toyota Corollas or Nissan Altimas. We're talking about Lamborghinis.
These are Italian, right?
Yes. Right. So Todd's introduction into what's normal and what's been happening is why I think the pushback is coming from his side. And again, I'm a fan of what Todd does on Bet the Book. But when you look at the new world of college football, I personally thought this was normal.
Well, I mean, when have the economics and the system of roster building, when has that been normal in college athletics? Todd's a smart guy. Todd understands that roster acquisition and perks and the things that have been paid under tables for long times, the system has been broken. The system did not just break because a running back got $2 million a year. So the system has been broken pretty much as long as this sport has been played in the modern era.
Bubba in our YouTube chat brings up the biggest point of it all. It's the payer of it. It's the Vols.
Well,
because he brings up, if it was Ohio State, it would be they've set the floor.
Well, but I think the whole point is that the perception is Ohio State doesn't need to pay $2 million for a running back. Clearly, they weren't willing to. Tennessee was willing to go to the highest level for that.
100%. But there are classes for a reason, though, right? Like, it's the same as a guy or a girl getting cosmetic surgery to make themselves look better. Sometimes you got to pay a little bit to make you elevate a few levels up. Kardashians did it. Now look at them.
It's an incredible analogy.
But it makes sense, don't it?
It does make sense. My thing to Todd would be this, if he was talking with us right now. My question would be, have you watched the guy play?
That's fair.
I don't think anyone who's watched David Gabriel George play football at Baylor is questioning the package that he is receiving from Tennessee. Just watch the guy. Just watch the guy. He's not a normal running back, first and foremost. He is the best weapon that Tennessee could have added this upcoming cycle. Yeah.
And with where the team is at as well. Deshaun Bishop doesn't have to leave after this year.
No, he is. Yeah, that's right. He's a redshirt junior. And Vandy Chris has been in the chat saying, well, wasn't that going to cause locker room issues? I don't think you know Deshaun Bishop very well if you think that a David Gabriel George NIL pack is going to cause locker room issues for him. And in what offense is there just one running back who plays also? I mean, I see this as a 1-2 punch of DGG and Deshaun Bishop next season.
I want to go ahead and just inform. Was it Chris that said it? Vandy Chris, here's the thing. There are locker room issues regardless. You want to know why? Because all of these guys talk about their salaries and try to renegotiate because they all also share the same agents as well.
That's right.
So this, right. I don't know if you know this, but this is currently going on in all locker rooms regardless. Teams, coaches, that's why they're upset about the contracts and trying to get Congress involved. They're tired of renegotiating with guys who are chatty patties about what they're getting paid. Like Vanderbilt's, I'm sure, dealing with this. Tennessee's dealt with it. Georgia's dealing with it. No matter what the coaches are saying, this is why Dabo Swinney's upset. You know what I'm saying? This is all of that is a part of it. I mean, it happens in NFL locker rooms as well. People look at, he got what? I need this. And it might not be the same team, but I'm way better than this guy.
Just watch the guy play, and I promise you'll understand the price.
We're closer to the NFL model than you guys understand. And yes, DGG, the talent is there.
The guy's unbelievable, man. I've never seen a high school player that looks like this guy. Truly.
I can't wait to see it in person.
I know Rivals had a comp to Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
It looks a little more like Derrick Henry to me. He's not as tall as Derrick.
Yeah.
But his running style and the way he can round a corner and just get to top speed. And it looks like he's not moving that fast, but in reality, he is moving like a sprinter. The guy's just a little bit different.
It's crazy. I'm looking at where the reported NIL valuations on 3.
Yeah.
Ohio State paid 1.7 for an edge player.
I think that's just the valuation. I don't know if that's actually what the deal they're getting
What they have on here is DGG's at 2.
Okay. Of just what they could get if they were on the open market.
But it's got a check mark by it's almost confirmed. Either way, numbers are being paid for players that you want. This is a 5-star plus edge player that Ohio State clearly wanted, and they paid whatever the valuation is.
Todd, if he was here, would respond and say, okay, but that's an edge rusher. That's a premium position.
Different importance from college needs at running back versus the NFL, Todd. That's what I would also say back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Prove me different. Like, running backs have the abilities to still be very important to their teams. Like, Saquon Barkley ran for 2,000 yards or almost 2,000 yards and didn't win MVP. It's because the NFL has told us that you do that in college more times than not. At a big program, you're probably going to win the Heisman in this situation. You still got wide receivers that'll win the Heisman. In college, it's two different worlds. I know that's not his conversation, but like, it's just kind of how it goes.
Lane Kiffin this morning, speaking to the media, had a 16-minute opening statement. Tried to run out the clock on us for his 30-minute need at SEC Media Days to speak. 16-minute filibuster from Lane Kiffin.
He's so corny. He's just Lane. People love him here, so I won't speak ill of him, but he's not my cup of tea. And
no,
he never has.
You can
been.
speak ill of him. It's okay.
He's just never. This is the Lane. He's now back on his faith base. Let me be quiet in a good person type of world. Like I told y'all years ago, I was like, don't buy that Lane crap. Like, and I legitimately mean that. Like, it is the whole wash and rinse repeat of what he is as a human being. And on top of that, he gets facilitated with money to act out how he wants to. And now he's not speaking to me because now he's so buttoned up and professional.
Brett McMurphy quotes Lane Kiffin at 8:29 a.m., quote, "We're all going to die," end quote. Thanks, Lane.
He said that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, if he don't go get a championship in Baton Rouge, somebody going to put a spell on him.
Yeah, if you only win 8 games this year, you're all right.
Hey,
you might...
I think voodoo was real, okay? Like, don't play with them in them bayous like that, Lane. Let's show you the pressure that he's up against right now. They went back and got a coach that was pretty much forced out of the SEC, man, in basketball. So think about that. Everybody else got a national championship, Lane. Do your thing. Or you be BK2.
Nate Washington, former Titans wide receiver, joins us. We'll talk some Titans coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems. Man, when you start noticing cracks in the walls, uneven floors or driveways sinking and separating, it's more than a home issue, good people. It's a peace of mind issue, and I do mean that, man. That's why who you choose for foundation repair, concrete leveling, it really matters. I personally trust United Structural Systems because they've been doing it the right way since 1994 right here in Tennessee. And USS, they don't believe in quick fixes or scare tactics. They take their time to inspect, explain what is happening, and walk you through real proven solutions that are built to last, the same way they did with me in my house. So whether your house needs foundation stabilization, crawl space repair, or concrete leveling for sinking sidewalks, patios, or driveways, man, USS, they use engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not those temporary patches. USS is offering several payment options for you during this month of July to make your foundation repair more affordable. You can choose one of the following, where you can get 10% discount when you pay in full, or fix it now, pay later with 18 months, no interest, no payment. Or you can simply choose the 36 months, no interest with low payment options for qualified buyers. Listen to me, they're dependable, they're trustworthy, they are USS. So give them a call or learn more at USSTN.com.
Ramon and Will continues hour number 4 on your Thursday morning. A beautiful day in the Music City with Ramon Foster. I am Will Bowling. Welcoming in former Tennessee Titans wide receiver Nate Washington, 1 week away from Titans training camp already. Nate, how we doing? Good morning.
Fellas, I'm doing great. What's up, Will? What's up, Mom?
What's going on,
glad
Nate?
to be talking to you guys again. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Inside of a sauna, man. What the heck, man?
I know, man. I know. It's crazy out here, right?
It is, absolutely, man.
Do you,
Appreciate it.
Nate, this time of year, do you miss training camp at all, or are you happy to not be going through some of the punishment in the sauna that is Nashville, Tennessee, that these guys will be going through over the next few weeks?
Man, the South, Nashville was my first introduction to actually playing, it being my home field in the South, right? So I was telling myself when I first got to Nashville, it's not going to be that bad. I've experienced warm weather in Pittsburgh, this, that, and the other. Hey, man, that Nashville heat is different. It's different, man. And I'll tell you this, Will, I did being an accident just strictly because it let football, right? But other than that, performing and having to practice, oh man, they got it, man. I got nothing more for them.
I love it. Nate, what kind of improvements would you want to see from Cam Ward in this training camp this offseason?
Oh man, I think his poise and his confidence has always been there, but his ability to take advantage of what defenses give him is first and foremost for me. I think sometimes last year, obviously, with his game and his mindset, he got into hero ball a lot, right? There was a lot of moments there were simple plays there for him to make, but he wanted to make the big splash play because he knew not only those big plays would ignite the team, but ignite the fan base, and give them something to look for. And I understand that mentality, especially when you have a young guy coming in, drafted that high, where he does have actually control of a lot of what that offense is going to do and accomplish. But I think as a young guy, one of the main things that he has to understand is taking what the defense gives him is the best way to put his team in position to not only score, but to be one of the most dominant offenses in this game. I think there was a time where I was with Coach Dick LeBeau, and he was very stern on understanding young quarterbacks. Sometimes he would sit back in a zone throughout the entire drive, knowing that at some point that young guy would make a mistake because he would get greedy. But when you play guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady that can dink and dunk you all the way down the field and take 5-yard pass plays here, 7-yard pass plays there, and understand that when you get in position down in the red zone, it was about capitalizing. Those are the most important things, and I think Cam has to understand that this year. A lot of the hero ball is going to have to stop, and he's going to have to take what the defense is giving him. Also, I would love to see his accuracy and his touch become better. I think he has a great, strong arm, but sometimes when you get young guys with strong arms, their touch and their accuracy tends to leave them because they're always thinking about throwing the ball hard. And also, although he can throw the deep ball great, sometimes watching that ball drop in the bucket, as they say, is going to be important for his trajectory of his passes. A lot of his passes can become line drives because he's so stern on throwing the ball and getting it there. But sometimes that touch is needed. So those are the two of the main things that I would love him to see improvement on this year. The hero ball, his accuracy, and his touch on his passes.
We're joined by former Titans wide receiver Nate Washington this morning. Man, Nate, you play a position that's super unique to football. You rely on somebody else to make sure that you fed on game day and that your bank account is as well when it comes down to contracts, right? It's the wide receiver position. Yes, you played with a young guy, Jake Locker, here in Nashville. Like, as an older guy like Calvin is, right, or like Wandale is coming off of a big-time year, couple of years for him with a new contract. What can you do or say to a guy that's a young quarterback to kind of help them understand what you need, what they should be doing without overimposing like you are the starting quarterback? Because Jake Locker was young, and I'm sure there were growing pains that you had to, go through with him to kind of walk him through what was good, what was necessary, and what wasn't. So how is that from a veteran perspective?
Well, excuse me. My main thing when Jake came in, was just establishing that trust factor. I think that's the main thing because these young guys at that position, that quarterback position, they're going to make a lot of mistakes, not only with their reads, but with their accuracy. And my main thing, it was twofold, making sure that verbally I was making sure his confidence was in the right place with me personally to understand that no matter if he came to me, a play was going to be made, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that also had to come with action. I couldn't just talk him to death. I had to show this kid, not only in practice, that, hey, you made the wrong read here and the ball was a bit outside, but I made the catch and we were able to secure a first down, or we were able to stop a turnover and those type of things. Those type of things are important to build the confidence of a young guy. And so when I see Cam, I see the same thing. Obviously the confidence is there mentally, but when you talk about the trust factor and being a receiver and establishing that relationship with your young quarterback, you have to make sure that he understands not only does he believe in you being in the right spots, but he also believes in you making a play for him. I think about one of my most iconic catches throughout my entire career, the Detroit catch. That was one of the main, things. He seen me, he was able to take a shot, but it didn't matter for Jake a lot of times. He knew all he had to do was put the ball in the area and not make the play for him. And I think that's the same thing, these young guys, these receivers are going to have to do for Cam.
Man, Nate, we have a conversation. I know we had it in Pittsburgh. I'm sure you've had it with the Titans and also in Pittsburgh as well, where you don't count numbers in camp. That's kind of like the worst thing that you could do, man, is start counting reps, counting heads that are in front of you, counting all of that, man. And on this side, Nate, we can live comfortable, even as undrafted guys, right, and say the Titans got 5 guys. And usually that's who you put up on game day aside from the special teams guy. But the 5 guys, they got a wide receiver. Calvin, you got Carnell Tate, you got Chimray, you got Wandell, and you got Elliott. Nate, for guys who are in positions, man, like KJ Osborne, Xavier Restrepo, just a multitude of other receivers they have on this team, Mason Kinsey, what do they have to do, Nate, to kind of be noticed or start stealing some of those reps and make the 53-man roster? Because that's a tough 5 right there. That's kind of hard to get over if you're counting numbers, which I just did.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I would put it in terms of a horse race, right? A lot of people see the horses line up in the stable or in the starting blocks. They see the jockeys on the back. They see all those details of the uniform that's on the horse, and you got your predictions and all of those things. But how they're probably supposed to pan out, right? You got your favorites in the race, but ultimately, when those horses line up, what is the main thing that they have that is an advantage for them? It's the blinders on the side of their eyes. Nothing matters to them about what's going on. It's all about running their race, right? And it's going to have to be the same thing for these young guys that are coming in behind these guys that they just paid. They're going to have to put their blinders on and ignore everything else that's going on around them and handle their business, right? I used to understand that while Hines and Santonio may get majority and bulk of those repetitions with the first team, if they got 12 for the day and I got 6 or 7, I was going to have to take advantage of those 6 or 7. It wasn't about them getting more than me or understanding that they were in front of me. It was about understanding that when I had my opportunity in training camp to get those practice reps, that I stepped in and did my job. Now, here's the opportunity also that pops up when, for us personally as receivers, when the ball's thrown your way, you're able to make big plays. And that's where a lot of these guys are going to be able to separate themselves. When their opportunity comes and those things are given to them play-wise, play structure-wise, then they make their plays out there, and it doesn't matter who's in front of them. The coaching staff, the front office, the scouting people, the decision-makers are going to understand that on the back end of this roster, in that room, they'll have value in case anything goes down with injury-wise. And unfortunately, we've seen that happen with this room for the past 2 to 3 years. So I would just tell them, keep those blinders on your eyes. Don't worry about who's in front of you, which I understand is very hard to do, but you have to also understand that you have a personal job to do. And even if it's special teams, you go out there and you give everything that you have and you leave it on the field, as they say, and understand that you did your part. And now it's up to the decision makers to understand where you fit in and understand your value.
No doubt.
Former Titans wide receiver Nate Washington, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Nate, how high are your expectations for Carnell Tate in his rookie season in this offense?
In this offense, they're high. I'm expecting 5 to 8 touchdown, 800 to 1,000 yard season with him. Here's why, right? I think this team has been in such of a need of a big playmaker, a consistent playmaker. Mm-hmm. They've had guys that come along and make, splash plays here and there, have had potential in other places, have had even potential in the offense that they've had here, right? But I think with what they have around Carnell, Wandale, Calvin coming back, a young Gunnar Helm, that I think a lot of people are sleeping on what he is going to bring to this offense as well. And with Gunnar coming along and establishing himself, he's going to be a big part of what they do. I came in the league with Heath Miller, right? And I seen immediately how Heath changed the trajectory of what we were able to do on offense. Although we had Willie Parker, although we had Ben Roethlisberger, although we had Hines Ward, what Heath Miller brought to the table is exactly what I'm expecting Gunnar Helm to do in this next season. I think he'll be a very great asset for this team. But getting back to Carnell, I think that also will kind of limit his opportunities. Although he will have many, it will limit his opportunities that he will have with this team. But I am expecting him to be our number one. I am also coming into this understanding that Calvin coming back and being healthy, I think we will see a different Calvin this year. I know it's been 2 years. I understand even what he's done prior to what he got with the Titans, but I also think this Carnell Tate acquisition will also light a fire under Calvin. So I think it will boost the whole passing game of this Titans offense, but I also think I'm looking at a 5 to 8 touchdown, 800 or 1,000 yard season from young Calvin, really, with the future being limitless and understanding a foundation that him and Cam will be able to build for years to come.
Nate Washington with us. I think it's always so interesting, Nate, with wide receivers, how quickly you start to try to scheme things for specific players and growing past, hey, maybe you're a secondary option, you're opening up something for a primary guy to, hey, you've made enough plays in practice and in games that let's start drawing up plays for Carnell Tate. How quickly do you think we could get to that spot, Nate, in this rookie season? Or do we just start week one saying, you know what, one of the most important things on the game plan is to get the ball to Carnell? How quickly do you think we get to that point this season?
Well, I think we would be in a different position if we didn't have the running game that we had. With the position of the running game that we have with Pollard and Spears, I think, those things will be our foundation for this team. Coming in from with experience that I had leaving Pittsburgh, as I speak about often my experience, but I see a guy that, I left Pittsburgh and I was the number 3 guy. I was behind Hines Ward in San Antonio. When I came to Tennessee that very first year, I was number 1, number 2 / with Kenny Britt. Them trying to figure out if Kenny Britt was going to be the guy that they needed for their future, figuring out if he was going to be the reliable and consistent number 1 that first year we were there. We were about both, up and down in our strategy and our chemistry that we had with the offense. We started off 0-6 because of that, actually. But in that same sense, once we found our grounding and our footing and we understood where we stood on that totem pole of touches, then we kind of established a little bit better offense. We went on a 7-game run, and those type of things worked out for us. And I think that'll be the same thing with Carnell and this offense, trying to figure out the balance of the run game, your other weapons. Obviously, Wandale is going to be a huge weapon for this offense that they haven't had in the slot. Some consistency, some big playmaking. And I think, trying to find the chemistry as not only a new coaching staff, but also a new and young wide receiver core, catching core, with trying to still find the balance of this young offensive line. I think all those things are going to take time. But I think, more than earlier than the halfway of the season, this thing should start clicking for them. I feel like by that time they should understand what Carnell is capable of. Understanding whether they're going to use him more outside or in, understanding where he has the number one ability with still having your option of Calvin Ridley still being there with his veteran presence. So I think they're in a great position, right? I think they're in a position where you're understanding that this kid could be your number one, but you don't have to rush it. You don't have to start game one with putting all your eggs into that basket. And if they don't work out, you're looking at an 0-6 start. You're looking at a position now with the Titans where they can ease him into the progression, make him the either number one, number two of those plays, and see if there is something that can grow there in the chemistry between him and Cam to where that trust builds to where he can actually become your number one and your go-to guy. But I don't think they're in a position where they have to force it in game one.
No doubt. I've kind of been of that same mindset, man, when it comes down to Cam, Nate, is I feel like he should still ride in the side cart next to the defense. And I personally don't think that's a bad thing because there's still a lot of growth to be had, considering it's a new offense as well. And being supported by a very veteran defense that Coach Sala and Gus Bradley are manning this year, man, how do you feel about that side of, you know, you spoke about earlier, Cam not having to go for the big shot early and often and just taking what's in front, man? Do you view it the same way? Because most of the good young quarterbacks, they're hidden by a good defense.
Hey, man, listen here, Ron. I won 2 Super Bowls off of having a great defense. You understand? It was plenty of games on both of those years where we sat on that bench as an offense, and we just couldn't get it together, man. We maybe had 2 turnovers. You're looking at 150 maybe passing yards by the end of the third quarter. We're being stumped in the run game because they're piling up the box, and we got about 50 yards of run game. But you look at the scoreboard, and we're up 2 touchdowns because that's how good our defense is. And I agree with you. I think this is definitely going to be a situation where, in a sense, Cam can be in the side cart to what this team is going to need to be successful. This defense is going to have to be lights out. You know, and as the old saying goes, defense wins championships, man. And I truly believe that this is the position that the organization is in right now, with the veteran leadership from Jeffrey Simmons, what he brings to the table, how he ignites not only that side of the ball, but the entire team. He's going to have to lead this team into the victories and understanding that defense is what's going to get them into playoff position.
Man, Nate, I wanted to bring a little bit more of a highlight. I think we're going to knock out our challenge real soon, man. Your former teammate, Titans legend, man, Chris Johnson, a.k.a. CJ2K. Nate, I want you to, if you want to speak on him in general, just the Superman that he was out there, but also, man, we're getting amped up and excited for fall and the contact sport that we love as far as football goes, man. But this game eventually ends, usually after 1 year after college or, heck, like you, numerous years in this league. What has health and life been like for you, man, lightly after football, as you've somewhat adjusted to being a regular civilian, Nate?
Man, well, it's funny you bring that up. You know, I just released my book last year in October, Football Was My Father. And a lot of everything that I have been through and learned from the game is exactly what's in the book. You know, it was a growing process of manhood, you know, and watching my dear friend CJ go through what he's going through, you know, so many stories of being off the field, you know, of our families, you know, interacting. And to this day, you know, his brother and my cousins are still close. And it was just that type of environment with him. So to see that happen, to hear about, you know, those things coming to fruition, it kind of puts everything in perspective. You know, the game of football, especially on the level that we played it on, it changed my life in many ways. You know, it not only allowed me the opportunity to put food on me and my family's table, but it also allowed us to see things that we never seen before. And some of those things we've never seen before, unfortunately, are the repercussions of the contact sport that we play. You know, I've seen a lot of peers, you know, not mentally in their right minds nowadays. You know, you see the ailments that some of these guys are going through. you see the unfortunate situation that CJ is going through, and you just look at the game, and as much as we can appreciate it for those guys that have made it out with sound minds and pure hearts and great, environments, good team around us, family, friends, and to be in those positions, I think you can do nothing but just feel blessed, man. You look at a situation where, for me personally, I wasn't ever looking at coming towards going to the NFL. So to come out of it with an 11-year career, to have the friends that I have today and the connections that I have today based off of what I was able to do on a professional level of a game that I played when I was a kid, it changed my life, man. But it also impacted me emotionally in a tremendous way. We've all been trying to keep in touch now, scheduling a moment that we can all go to Orlando and spend some time with CJ and doing whatever we can as a collective family of those guys that played with him, to be there for him and his family in this moment, and watching his strong wife, Miss Brittany, deal with everything that she may have been dealing with behind scenes, and just trying to do what we can to be there for them, So this, as you know, Moan, this environment that, a lot of people deem a game is our family to us. We spend many holidays with these guys. We invite guys over for Thanksgiving. They know our parents. They know our kids. They become Uncle such and such. So for us, it's very impactful, but forever and to the end, until they all put us in the dirt, we'll always be there for each other, and that's the best thing about it. No matter what's going on, the family that I guess pulls together in these moments is some of the best things that I've ever experienced in my life. So that's been my experience of it, and I've been grateful, but I've also been humbled by everything that I've experienced.
Biggest thing you said, though, was your circle.
Yeah,
I think we don't
really well
emphasize that enough for former athletes. Like, we get an echo chamber if we don't have that support system outside. I know for myself, you mentioned it, like, my boys know uncles that we ain't blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not blood uncles, but they call them Uncle Rob, Uncle Inky, Uncle, all of those types of things. And that matters for sanity, Nate, post-football.
Yeah. Yes, it does, man. I mean, the conversations now about everything, man, right? I'm talking about parenthood, your marital relationships, and those type of things, those type of conversations that we have as grown men. Those perspectives, our perspectives from playing football, are totally different from the average normal working person. I tell a lot of people that although we don't have the insight of death as much as they do, a lot of what we go through is just like a soldier returning from war. Everything that we've done in our entire life has been based around football. And a lot of the things that we know about carrying ourselves as men, being the leader of our households, being the leaders of our communities, being fathers, being those type of things, it's football-based. But sometimes, man, football-based mentality isn't the best mentality, because a lot of that comes with aggression and those type of things. So to be able to talk to your brothers, figure those things out, understand how to become a better man in society, understanding that you have somebody to talk to when you don't feel your best, that will not only understand you, but give you positive and helpful reinforcement mentally. Man, I couldn't trade it for the world, because honestly, Ramon, and I'm pretty sure you'll understand this as well, although I love my friends that I grew up with as children, they don't understand the position that I'm in. You guys do, so those conversations go a lot better for me sometimes than my childhood friends. But man, it's been amazing to be able to tap into these personal relationships that I've had growing throughout the NFL.
Absolutely.
Very well said. Nate Washington, one of our favorites, our guest this morning here on Ramon Will, Amazon.com. Football Was My Father. A great read from Nate that you can get anywhere. Again, we all use Amazon all the time. So go and get your copy there. Nate, great to catch up with you. Appreciate it, man, as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you, fellas. As always, it's always an honor to be with you guys. Until next time, man.
Yes, sir. Nate Washington with us here this morning. Talk a little Titans and a little bit of life.
I feel like we needed a finger snap after
good message. Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to get that from Nate because I know Nate played with Chris and so many others did as well. And I knew they had that relationship. At least the brothers did too with each other. So interconnected. Great perspective.
Final headlines after this as we wrap up the show. Talk a little more Nashville SC with another win last night. Coming up next.
A day at the spa, the perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, or any occasion. Lavish and luxurious, yet affordable. A grand gesture, yet simple for you. The gift card from A Moment's Peace. Give her the gift she won't buy herself. An escape, a bit of luxury. Something special that shows more than just words. A gift from A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall. Call 615-224-0770 or go online at amomentspeace.com anytime.
Hard-hitting journalism from Tampa, from friend of the show, David Cobb, Ramon. I have got opening statement length of every SEC head coach who's spoken so far at SEC Media Days.
Oh, that's you serious?
This is to the second, actually. I couldn't be more serious.
What we got?
From David Cobb of CBS Sports from Tampa Bay. This is the kind of headline we get you on the way out of the show. Lane Kiffin went 16 minutes and 23 seconds on his opening statement length. That is the longest at SEC Media Days. Clark Lee, the shortest opening statement so far.
Okay.
With only 4 minutes and 44 seconds at SEC Media Days. Shane Beamer, 14 minutes, 40 seconds.
Wow.
Eli Drinkwitz, 13 minutes. Mike Elko, 11:35. Kirby Smart, 10:03. Did you see what Mike Elko said yesterday, by the way, about how he motivates his players?
It was beautiful.
He said, I showed them our trophy case. It's empty.
Yeah.
He sounds like a Texas fan.
That is as real as you can
at least
get.
he's self-aware.
That's what I was going to say, but isn't it like a jab at your own self?
Oh,
Not
it's
like
a total self-own.
But
Yes.
it's not a motivation
Total
tactic.
self-own.
Okay, all right. I differ on that one.
Bank account's a lot fuller than trophy cases in College Station.
Listen, that class they had in 21 under Jimbo.
Yeah.
Oh, you seen
The Walter Nolan class.
You seen an update on that class where they went and how they panned out?
We could try to do it right now if you want.
I don't know if we want. It's sad to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Will's like more.
They all got paid.
My dog is like so.
They all got paid.
Never switch up. Will's like so. Yeah.
They do have the number one class of the country right now as well.
Currently, they do still
For 2027.
That is a real good self-owned by Mike Elko. I mean, legit. No, yeah.
It was their 22 class is the one you're thinking of. They had 30 total commits. They had 9 5-stars that year. Walter Nolan, Arizona Cardinal.
Transferred out.
Shamar Stewart finished at A&M, 5-star. Shamar Stewart is where now?
Cincinnati?
Oh, yes.
This is the one that had the discrepancy in his contract.
Yes.
That he did not sign.
Yes.
That he eventually did.
Evan Stewart, wide receiver, transferred to Oregon.
Don't remember.
LT Overton, defensive lineman, transferred to Alabama.
Yeah.
Ended up being a very good player.
Yeah,
all these players were good, just not for A&M.
I don't think he made it in the league.
Gabriel Brownlow Dindy transferred to South Carolina. Another 5-star. Denver Harris is a corner. Transferred to UNLV. Connor Wegman, quarterback. Wow. Houston.
What was his rating at the time?
5-star.
I know, but where? How high up, number-wise, at his
Number
position?
29 player in the country, number 4 quarterback in the country.
Ooh.
Jacoby Matthews, safety, finished at Auburn, or is enrolled at Auburn. Anthony Lucas, defensive lineman, USC. Those are all the 5-stars. Jacoby Matthews was the last. So out of the 9 5-stars that A&M signed in 2022, one of them finished at Texas A&M.
You got 2 first-rounders out of it so far?
Yes.
I think the kid that transferred to South Carolina has been injury-riddled.
Brownlow Dindy, yeah.
He's hoping for one big
D-lineman.
year. Yeah, this is last year. Brownlow Dindy.
Yep.
Wow, what a class, though.
And it goes to show, too, as much as we talk about DGG and David Gabriel George, there are no guarantees.
None.
When you are getting 5 stars. No guarantees.
Yeah, no, it's not. And that was, the cautionary side of discussing DGG. Like, it's not a perfect prospect because we've yet to see the college version of him. High school, oh, yeah, he's checked every box.
Right. I did see Greg McElroy from our sister station at Jocks in Birmingham, former Alabama quarterback and ESPN analyst, called his shot on his podcast, Always College Football, yesterday. Said, after watching Faison Brandon in just a little bit, I think he's ready. I think it's going to be Faison Brandon for Tennessee this year. Yeah. You said earlier this morning you feel the same way.
I do too. Legitimately, man. I mean, it's I feel like the writing's on the wall, but nobody's wanting to read it out loud just yet. Just being honest with you. And because you got to respect the way Heupel goes about these competitions, whether it is, David Sanders versus player X at right tackle last year. Like, he was very respectful of not just passing it over to David Sanders, whatever the case may have been.
Sure. Last night at Geodis Park, Nashville SC wins a 5th MLS match in a row for the first time in team history. 1-0 over CF Montreal. Sam Surridge with his 10th MLS goal this season and only his 6th start of the season, with how many injuries he's had and the squad rotation of CONCACAF Champions Cup and MLS play that the team is rotated in and out of. Another big headline last night, Ramon. Brian Schwacke with another great performance and another shutout. He now has 8 clean sheets, meaning 8 shutouts in 16 MLS starts. He has 16 career MLS starts and 8 shutouts. He is second in clean sheets in Major League Soccer this year. Huge save on Prince Owusu from close range last night that kept that match where it was. He was terrific. Nashville's back line, terrific right now. The best defensive record in MLS. And a pair of 1-0 wins this week. They now go to Orlando Saturday. Very quick turnaround. Orlando, who just beat second place in the West, San Jose, late last night, 4-0 in San Jose. And unveiled World Cup winner Antoine Griezmann, who made his debut for Orlando City last night.
Is this the borrowed player?
That is a big challenge. What'd you say?
Is this the borrowed player?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about Orlando. Unveiled Antoine Griezmann.
I remember you talking about somebody who was on loan. I remember that conversation.
Elias Saad is on loan from the German top flight for Nashville. He has not yet made his debut.
Okay, gotcha.
Working on the visa stuff. Last thing we heard from B.J. Callahan in his press conference last week was that they were waiting on the visa process.
Okay. The clean sheet side of Nashville SC's goal is defense around him as well. Like, how many shots on goal is he taking per game?
Last night, I think he had 2 saves.
Okay.
But they were both really good saves.
Okay.
They're both hard stops to make. Nashville doesn't allow a ton of chances. There's not enough shots on target.
Spain.
But when he has to make saves, he makes saves. He is so good.
When is the ball dead on a goalie's defense? Because, again, that's how Spain,
what do you mean?
Like, they have to capture the ball. You can't just bat the ball and it's done. Like, there's a rebound that happens that you can score a goal
You can't pass the ball back to the goalie with your feet and have him pick it up. Okay. It has to be headed back to you or deflected back to you, if that's what you mean.
No, I'm talking about the offensive player up against a goalie. Like, when they block a shot, block a goal, the ball will bounce out and they get another kick. Like, a block doesn't stop play.
Right. No, you got to catch it. It's just like possessing the ball. You got to catch it in order for the attacking team to not be able to
offensive rebound. Basically.
They've allowed 11 goals, Nashville, in 16 games. That is an incredible defensive record.
Goodness.
Back at it Saturday night. Excited to be there.
Boys in gold are golden.
We are back at it tomorrow morning. We will have Brent Hubbs of the show to talk about DGG and Tennessee Fall Camp being on the horizon. We will have, I believe, Ron Slay after a busy week at SEC Media Days as well. They went to my favorite restaurant, literally, that I've been to in my life last night.
Your life?
Burn's Steakhouse in Tampa Bay is my favorite restaurant that I have been to in my life. They were there last night. A big crew was there for 3HL there last night. So excited to hear about that, and maybe we'll talk a little football too.
No doubt.
Back at it tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you at 6 a.m.
But remember, good people, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.